Back downside we go here this morning for futures ahead of a key jobs employment look overall coming up at 8:30 this morning. We'll get the delayed non-farm payrolls print from last Friday. The expectation anywhere I've seen from 55,000 up to 75,000 to the upside, positive obviously for that. We'll bring that to you live as it happens this morning. A lot of attention going to be paid to the employment status and the hours specifically in that report. We'll talk about that as it happens coming up. A lot of things moving around this morning as well as far as individual movers are concerned, including Robinhood to the downside. We'll touch on the earnings report out that we brought to you after the close yesterday. Amazon with an interesting headline today. Tesla as well, teaming up with Tencent over in China. Tesla back to the upside today, has had 2 or 3 days in a row here back higher, quietly through to 426 once again. A little bit of a resistance point if you zoom out a bit and take a look at a higher time frame. So going to be one of those days where we have to kind of wait and see. I think ahead of 8:30 when we get this jobs print, and then coming up end of the week, remember Friday, we'll get CPI. So back to back here, inflation related prints and the employment status, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people are going to be looking at this, I think, at 8:30 this morning.
I feel like we were getting weird overtures from the administration, Brendo, about to temper our expectations with respect to this jobs number. I don't have a good feeling about this, but it was Howard Lutnick as well. I think Peter Navarro specifically last week said, you know, maybe we need to reassess what the numbers look like. So it might not be what we're expecting, but we already know we're in a low higher, low fire environment, and that jobs number just keeps ticking a little bit higher.
Yeah, let's give you an overview here. Here we go. So non-farm payrolls due at 8:30 again. As I mentioned, the prior number was 50. Consensus on this, I've seen anywhere from, depending on which website you look at, I've seen anywhere from 50 up to 75,000. So a very, very wide range on the expectation. We are expecting the unemployment rate to get a little bit of a downtick. 4.4% was the prior. 4.4 again is the consensus forecast, 4.5%. So the hourly earnings going to be in watch. I was reading a note on this morning, creeping back higher. This figure specifically has been over the past couple of prints. So I think a lot of people are going to be, 3.8% increase again expected on that. So we'll see what it actually comes out with. Consensus looking for 3.6%. So as you said, there's been some back and forth. I mean, Trump was talking a little bit yesterday and seemed like everything was fine, as he always does. But, you know, there's been some other comments, as you mentioned, that, have maybe pointed to something else happening.
Well, we've defeated inflation, Brendo, according to President Trump, of course. I don't feel the Fed feels that way. We're still a little bit off their 2% target. But it's been an interesting, kind of situation that we've been in. We've been seeing growth in the economy with headline GDP numbers maintaining above 4%. All the while, you're not really seeing the corollary inflation. And then I remember when Chair Powell had his meeting last time, Brendo, he basically said that they have an eye on all the different segments of the economy that could have been affected by tariffs, and they're no longer making these predictions. They actually have data off which to base the numbers. So, and we really haven't seen that move up. So you're kind of you feel like the Fed's kind of caught between two minds here, right? You're getting that, nice growth. You're not seeing the corollary inflation to the same amount that they had predicted. So what do you do, especially with this jobs market?
I also feel like there's a portion of the crowd here who is also saying, who cares what Powell says right now, and is just completely looking ahead to Warsh and what is going to happen when we get this swap out coming up in a couple of months at the head of the Fed. So 8:30 going to be important, guys. Again, non-farm payrolls was due out last Friday. Coming this morning, we'll bring that to you live.
Morning, everybody. They can't get their cuts if the numbers aren't bad. So we magically start getting some bad numbers or continue to get some weaker job numbers. And is anybody going to be all that surprised? Not that there isn't weakening, but we've seen the glide of the Fed's fund. Well, the tool's been basically telling us that we have a better chance at over 2 cuts this year, and that's been gliding in the positive direction. If you're looking for cuts, I guess if you don't want cuts, it'd be going in the opposite direction. But overall, last night it was maybe not the best for earnings. You had some good surprises out there. ServiceNow, I think, surprised a little bit here. And this morning, Shopify looking pretty strong. But that's offset by Robinhood getting smacked down a little bit. Unity getting crushed. Now down 25% on Unity. It was half an hour ago, it was down 20%, and it continues to fall. You can also see Lyft languishing a little bit. And then on the kind of nothing burger side, Ford, despite having the worst EPS, but they had strong guidance. It was like a single item. It basically was just a tariff hit that caused them to miss on the EPS, and they had very strong guidance. So they're actually up a little bit. But overall, it's still a flattish market. We kind of got to that 7,000 on the ES and then couldn't do anything with it, sold off late. So you got to be looking at what's moving. Crypto's still going to be in place. Silver is actually back to moving around with a bit of a gap up, so that can be in play. And then lots of earnings names to get to. So yeah, you didn't have to have a lot of movement in the futures to have individual names go crazy. But my, oh my, that Unity is nasty. I didn't think we'd see anything. I thought the biggest ones were going to be last night, but at least good for Shopify. I don't know.
Yeah, it's nice to see Shopify back up, and it's kind of like if you're in the AI's sort of view, you're going to get hit a little bit there. So we do have Unity problem. We have Shopify, obviously, today, as you just mentioned there. Robinhood, also to the downside. We had Robinhood. Thank you for joining us last night, man. The show was really great. Yesterday after hours.
Oh, there he is. What's up, Randy?
Yesterday. We saw you put them there. We need to get that mic. There is a mic now. Sign?
Well, if we didn't notice them sitting behind us, I mean, what's the sign going to do?
I don't know why we're talking about bananas here. We need a sign. Well, there is a mic for Randy, but it's wireless. I don't know where it is. It's hovering around here. Okay. But yeah, Robinhood yesterday. Now we're down 10%. Well, now down 9% and going lower here in the after hours as we worry about crypto, right? So we'd sit down here down 67,000 right now to crypto. So. We'll talk about the amount of transaction volume in the crypto space for Robinhood. I think that's going to be a factor moving forward. I think now that Robinhood's cut in half, I mean, you probably might want to sit there and start to buy. You talk about a name that AI shouldn't really affect too much, some of these brokerages. I can't really wrap my head around how that would be affecting. I mean, obviously, advisors and things like that could happen. Robo-advisors, like automatically building a portfolio for you and whatnot. But that's not what Robinhood's all about right now. As long as trading is the name of the game, Robinhood should be okay. I don't think they mentioned too much about the Trump accounts. So I think once that all gets settled down, that could be a really big boon for them at one point as well. Vertiv is huge as well. Oh, you have that up.
Data centers.
Oh, okay. That was just the very, very next. Yeah, I mean, look, we've talked about Vertiv and Vernova and some of the build out that happens. We focused on Caterpillar and some of the picks and shovels that are required for everything. And you could see here today, this is just. It's not like it's rocket science. I mean, these have been the right spaces to be involved with for a long time. And when you dip down, I think people get nervous, but the earnings are here. We saw Vernova put up a good number. Now Vertiv is putting up a good number. So yeah, breaking through, and there it goes, man, up to 235, up 16%, and just breaking through. So this is now clear skies. There's nothing ahead of this. It's too bad we didn't talk about this last night because when you're looking to break out of sort of all-time highs right around earnings and you get that good report, then it's see you later because all the shorts scramble. It's now broken through. So there goes Vertiv. I mean, congratulations.
And they beat everywhere. The numbers this morning are like about 6 on the for the guidance anyways, because that's what matters. So they're guiding EPS 6 versus 5.3, so that's about a 15%, maybe a little bit better than that beat. Sales is about a 10% beat if you look at the midpoint, maybe even a little bit better than that. So obviously very strong here. You just pick and rip, like it doesn't really matter necessarily. Like these guys are just as good as a Vernova performance as well, and it goes to show like we are. Hey, it's not just getting punished on earnings here. If you come out with big numbers and you are seeing, and essentially you're a little bit, let's just say, more insulated from some of the bubble concerns. Just better insulated is probably the better word to look at. Then you can still head to the upside. It's not just only about buying dips. Like, there are things out there that are making fresh highs, that are in strong upward trends, something we talked about with Brian Shannon yesterday, right? Like, it's when we see things down, like, Robinhood's an example. It's not that you can't buy dips in stocks, but there's plenty of things that have been trending for a while that if you've got them in your portfolio, you can add to and try to make it work. Like, I regret not adding GE Vernova. I'm happy about Caterpillar and Chevron, but like, I kept saying I wanted to get that other one and didn't add back into it. But good luck on Vertiv. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate you. Just remember, when you're throwing in these symbols, you don't always have to put a super chat in, although we appreciate it when you do. Maybe we'll talk about SoFi in relation to the Robinhood earnings, but Ezra, I don't really know that one. But make sure you do $ in front, and you don't have to put a million symbols there, Rivian Millionaire, but that allows us to get out the old stock visualizer, although it's not that old, and see what everyone is interested in. Right now, Unity and Tesla are number. I think this is going to change. I'm a little surprised that Robinhood is all the way down here. But you got Silver, VRT, which we just talked about, Shopify, SoFi as well. So make sure you keep them coming in there. A little surprised to see that Hood isn't at the top of that list, but there's plenty of time for that to change. Florida Man transplant. Thoughts on GDRX? Goodrix, huh? Oh, okay. Well, always say it's the first time pulling it up, and if there's a catalyst to it that I'm unaware of, you got to let me know, because it's A, not doing volume, B, doesn't have a story that I'm aware of, which is that's strike one is if you're not doing any volume. Strike two is if you don't have any catalyst that you would expect to make it do volume, and I'm not seeing a story on here at all for Goodrix. Yeah, I don't have a story from till last Friday where they had some kind of like a partnership, and you can tell there was at least some volume Thursday and Friday, and absolutely none. And it's, again, we were just talking about downward trending stocks. Underneath the 50-period moving average, actually on that news, on its last headline, rejecting the 50-period moving average for the second time. So when stocks are underneath that and it's being respected, I think why always try to get falling knives? Like, allow it to actually do something, allow it to have a catalyst, allow it to be above the 50-period. It just looks like a nothing burger to me, but we appreciate the super chat.
Keep everything flowing. We'll be going over stocks all day with you guys as well, but 8:30 is the big unemployment data, so that's going to be dropping, and I think that's going to change a lot of price levels. That's going to be in play here. If the number comes out as expected, maybe fine, but I feel like all the talk here off the open, Brendan had that open there, and so did Sharif, and talked about, some of the potential here of it being a little weaker. But see, I feel like when the street thinks something, maybe it's the other way. So let's be patient. I mean, we have 17 minutes. You're in the right spot. As soon as it drops, we'll talk about it. We'll flip over to the futures and look to see how those are moving around, and whether or not the IWM or something starts to rip around. We'll watch the dollar as well. We'll watch. I written down here, I have Tesla and IBIT written down so far here to watch today. So we'll be trading some Tesla and some Bitcoin. Bitcoin down to 66,000, broke through 67,000. I think that's going to be a huge mover on any kind of on the jobs rate. I think that it will move with the market just as much, if not more. So let's wait to see how crypto reacts to it today. It's been in such a downward trend that if the market starts to slip up, I think people will go over and start to sell crypto down again here today. So yeah, Robinhood lower, crypto lower, SoFi lower, Webull probably at all-time lows again, as these names just continue to be able to get onto the mat and then get lifted back up and then smacked back down again. To your point, if you look around, generally speaking, most stocks, there was something like 139 or stocks, something like that, breaking through 52-week highs, like on the S&P 500. Like, there's a lot of names that are doing quite well. There's a lot of beneficiaries of AI, right? That we just think that, hey, what is disrupting it? But there's so many companies that are taking advantage of AI, like a FedEx, like being able to route properly and be able to see the shipments and delivery times.
Yeah, the efficiencies
and more efficient drivers and more efficient logistical paths and things like that. So it's just like, there's lots, and FedEx is another great story, J&J, all these names that just continue to sort of have a moat around them as far as what AI can do for them, against them. There's not Like, what is AI going to hurt Procter & Gamble? Like, is it going to make a better deodorant or something like that? I mean, I think all it's going to help them do is...
give it time.
maybe, yeah. Maybe eventually. But what it would do is they could use AI to create a better formulation or something like that to become more efficient or a better overall product. But, you know, it's those little things that aren't getting disrupted.
I think even for them, it's like the ability to quickly to analyze trends, just streamline your processes. Like these are the gains that are going to come. Now it does come with the flip side. We're going to be talking about the jobs number in like 15 minutes or so, the non-farm payroll number in 15 minutes. Like there is that level of disruption too. But then if you sort of think about that as maybe giving some reasons for the race moving the other way, I think a lot of opportunities get provided. And I think a term that I heard this morning was we're living in a world now, or not living in a world now, but we're in a time where you're going to start to see like some smaller companies with the ability to disrupt in a large way, because you have such a huge changing environment with these efficiencies. And I know this is going to go again against like some of the software names, but you know, we see how productive you can be, and it's been exemplified with Claude there, how productive you can be in fractions of the time. And the major corporations are going to start to realize this as well. And right now, even in like a sentiment between like OpenAI and say an Anthropic, it's like, well, everyone's giddy about one and maybe hating on the other because one's going the consumer route and the other's going the enterprise route. And right now, everyone's talking about the disruption in the enterprise side. So, yeah, I think there's a lot of fun themes that are playing out here. But to go back over to like the G Vernovas and the Caterpillars, you can't lose playing it somewhere in like the picks, shovels, the infrastructure, because when all that spend is out there and they're continuing to do it, whether it makes money for Meta or not, whether it makes money for Alphabet or not, Caterpillar is going to get paid straight up like that. And we know that for the next couple of years, and that's why they've been looking so strong. What I'm interested in is, I know Joey Options is going to have some options names for us. I got to imagine there's got to be some crazy flow on Robinhood today. I'd be shocked if there wasn't.
Hey guys, welcome and happy Wednesday. A lot going on in the world of derivatives once again, leading into earnings season. So we're going to see a lot of increases within activity. But we're going to start some things off with a very interesting name, and one of my favorite, and that's going to be Robinhood. Oh no, what happened? Down 10% here, but that's all right. Small. Look at the bigger picture. All right, guys, aside from that, let's take a look at some of the activity here in the volumes. Relatively light, considering, right? Open interest. This is on the put side, too, as well, right? So we'll take that into consideration. Not that much activity on the put side, but what I wanted to see here is if we can find a potential floor. And I think we might have. So let's see if we can run into that $73 strike price. And the reason why I'm saying maybe 73 and a little bit north of that is just because this was the largest amount of supply on the put side. So $73 mark, let's see if we can hold up that level. Open interest sitting around 6,140 and volume around 6,000 there. But once again, you can see the increase in delta. Well, the delta actually relatively cool considering, it's cool because we're so far out of the money on this one, and then your gamma exposure. But one thing that we do want to focus on is the at the money IV. Once again, increase, you have that earnings report, you move that 9%, you're outside of that expected move, and sure enough, the options market is going to price that in, 142.6%. Bid and ask is relatively tight, $7, all right? And we are expiring this Friday. So let's take a look at the actual contract. Maybe a little bit difficult to see here, but this contract did peak around February 5th, and it lost a lot of its value, the majority of its value here. So what I'm gonna be looking at, so what you wanna do is like, hey, if we are going to be running into those zones, there's something in which price is derived from in options. So you have your intrinsic and extrinsic value, one being time value, and the other one essentially the moneyness of the contract. How in the money is that contract? Now, if it's not in the money, it's out the money, it only holds extrinsic value, so time value. So if you do not believe that we are going to go south of $73, but we run into 74 or 75, The objective of that specific strategy is to only collect time value, because to collect the intrinsic value, it's going to be significantly more difficult, okay? So I'm gonna be looking at this strike price myself early in the morning, just in case Robinhood does want to take an additional leg lower. Moving forward, we have Lyft, guys, and this is going to be on the call side. What really intrigued me about this was the volume was extremely light, but the open interest was substantial. And I went through multiple expiration cycles here, guys, and what I found that this was the largest I've seen at this $18 mark, okay? So at that $18 strike price, 16,700 current open contracts. And you can see for quite some time, a couple of sessions and into last week as well too, we have not had the ability to hold or even test that $18 mark. So I'm gonna be looking at this as potential hedges pushing price down. You can see we have a $7 spread. Your delta, considering still out of the money, sitting around that 40. Your gamma, around 12 there. And then your at the money IV, considering that we have reported earnings and it took a nice nosedive, you're at 111%. That is some options activity for today, guys. We'll be back momentarily with some upgrades and downgrades.
Give that segment an upgrade, everybody.
Yeah, everyone loves that segment, and thanks, Joe, for doing that. I mean, it's always interesting to look at names with earnings. I mean, obviously, we understand that, you know, the volatility picks up around earnings dates, the price of the contracts are going to pick up. But if you feel like you have a good sense of what's to come, then some of these earnings reports, like a Unity, like a Lyft, like a Vertiv, like even a Robinhood. I'm not sure what Robinhood's expected move was last night, probably around what it is, but you know, 8.5%. Okay, so yeah, so Robinhood's about there. But today for Lyft, you know, down 15%. I think that's another great example where you had seen Uber, you know, really start to fall all over itself. And again, like it's that sort of AI software, like downtrend that we're talking about here with Uber. So, you know, they had earnings and couldn't get out of their own way. They're still pushing lower every day. So, you know, sometimes if you look to say, okay, you know, what have some of the other names been doing in this space, you can sometimes get a good idea of what's about to come. And Lyft even had a $1 billion share buyback program there that was instituted, and that doesn't seem to be helping the stock too much here. But again, another thing to look at, as Joe mentions, you know, key levels that are coming into play. So if you're trying to think about where stocks could bounce from, you know, try to zoom out a little bit these days. But yeah, stocks, software names, right? I mean, they're going to be expensive to trade. We saw the IGV get the biggest flush in the history of IGV land last week, and this is the software ETF, and it battled back about 6 or 7%. But, you know, in negativity, this could be, you know, again, another thing that gets hit. Like you're going to have a little bit of a bounce back, but then whoosh, can come right back in. There was more inflows into, I think it was more outflows in IGV last week than there was like all of last year combined, or some sort of a stat like that. So the people really flooded out of the software names. So maybe there is due for a little bit of a pullback, but until we get through all these earnings, the names are going to keep coming out and keep warning and getting lower. So I would say probably not over the flushing yet, but I think we're through about 65% or so of earnings. A lot of the big names are through, but there's still, as we had mentioned before, a few different smaller names coming out, and a lot of those names are software related. So we'll have to have a quick look at how software and AI is going to affect these earnings reports, and a good way to play them is through Joe and his options. So if you do have any questions about specific options, super chat them or put them in the chat. We can throw them back over to Joe. He'll be on with Sharif from 11 till 2.
I believe today, are we getting Luis?
Yeah, midday we're supposed to be.
Midday at noon today?
Yep.
I believe being joined by Luis as well, midday, to talk about some small caps. I saw an interesting question just now in the chat. It was sort of just almost random, if I could find it. And it was KNT. Well, there's probably some kind of cool reasoning behind this name. KNTU4R, saying choose 2 from 3. Usually it's like choose one of the 3. And of course, it's always going to be 3 beat-up names. Choose 2 of these 3, Netflix, Bitcoin, and Robinhood. Right here, right now, I guess you're getting a discount on Robinhood, and I would choose, and Netflix. If I had to pick right here, right now, I'd probably go with those 2. But We did have some news yesterday with Netflix in the, hey, guess what? Paramount Skydance. Yay, they raised their bid. They came back strong. They went from $30 to $30 plus a quarter, some kind of a ticket thing, and they're guaranteeing, well, they're not guaranteeing, they're getting a guarantee from Ellison on the breakup fee, 2.8. Netflix actually took that in stride until the market turned around. But what's more interesting about Netflix is there seems to be a good accumulation that happened at the $80 level. Oh, that's right, not split adjusted. At the $80 level, let me just go to, I'm gonna pop just very quickly to a different chart over there on eSignal. And it's a good accumulation where we kind of thought this is where buyers should be coming back in. You go to the weekly and you can find like that double barrel at 82, and now we've had a good accumulation there. All you need is, I think, one green week to kind of turn the trend around a little bit, because it's been big slide and then very slowish grind down, but distinct. And now that you've got a little bit of a base, we get a green week, I think you start to get a little bit of a turnaround, get back into those 90s. Apparently another super chat before we get that NFP. With $2 Canadian, there we go, Canada, GRN, Game Dev. Yeah, Unity, yuck.
Not 27%, is it?
It was 20. Well, it was 25 when we started the show. What's it down? Well, okay, it is down 26%. This one's going to end up tricky because I was sort of looking at this. Here, I'll go back to the days. I was actually looking at Unity. See that prior low in here at about 23? Like, I was thinking this bottom, 22.5 into the 23 was sort of the short zone for a continuation play, and we're like 10% away, almost 10% away from that price. So it's going to take some kind of a bounce to get into these prior lows significantly. Fundamentally, it wasn't the best cue. We talk about things as a falling knife. I mean, they already got beaten up because the sector takes a hit, right? And now they get beaten up on the guide. So it's hard to really be a huge fan of Unity here. If you're getting a bounce today, I think it is more in like the dead cat bounce range, and it's like if you think it's getting oversold, it's at least coming into some significant support, but most of the big support was down in the 15 to 16 range, and then literally at the $20 level. So one of those would be like a more reasonable SSR bouncing spot for me. My first thought was kind of fill in that gap to the prior low for the short, and we're just running away from that quick.
All right, let's go back over the desk. 3 minutes, and we'll have the day solved. We'll get it all figured out. We'll figure out which way the market's going to go.
As expected.
And then, yeah, that's what I was going to say, if it comes out as expected. The boys will run through it, of course. Non-farm payrolls, unemployment rate, average earnings coming in 2.5 minutes.
Yeah, lots to understand here as far as, I was just going through a whole list of what the banks think is going to happen here in a couple of minutes. Citigroup, the highest. They're expecting 175,000 additions on this number. Most are anywhere from 45,000 to 90, as I said when we came on, like 55 to 75, kind of the range that I was seeing yesterday. Beta was up here too. I just saw this morning. Beta Technologies came to market last year. I've never even heard of this thing, but it was an IPO last year with an upgrade today, up decently as well. But yeah, let's open this and we'll see what is going to come here in just a matter of moments. So the thing we want to really focus on is this number, obviously, the prior 50,000 consensus. Again, depends on where you look, but this one's saying 70,000 on this number. If it's anywhere in the neighborhood of that 40 to kind of 70 or higher, then things most likely will be fine.
And like what I want to see as well, Brendo, is where the hiring is being done, right? And we always talk about this. Are these part-time jobs? Are these full-time jobs? Specifically, what industry are they being added in? A lot of eyes obviously are going to be on the tech-related sector to see if there are, low hires or even more layoffs with respect to, to entry-level positions, things that AI can easily replace. So the devil's in the detail, especially with this kind of thing, especially if you're looking for a trend. And everybody and their mother is looking at this AI sort of headwind for the job market. I think a lot of people are diving into it.
I mean, we were making the point the last couple of days here. We've seen over there, just the last couple of weeks that we've had a number of bigger companies coming through with job cuts once again. trying to sweep it under the carpet and just say, don't look over here, look over here. It's not because of AI, I promise. It's more just cost cutting and positive thinking, really. So under a minute.
Amazon's perfected that.
Exactly, multiple times over the past little while here. Under a minute to go here. Non-farm payrolls on the private side will come through as well. 37,000 expected. 32,000 was the, 37,000 was the prior. 32,000 was the expected on that number. So all of these flashing right now going to populate in just a matter of moments. And as Sean was mentioning, we'll probably get the day resolved here in about 10%, 4.4 or 10%, 10 seconds, I mean. 4.4% is the expected unemployment rate. That should be in line exactly with what came through the last time, 4.4%. Canadian building permits just coming through there. Still not seeing these numbers. Again, the other thing to note here, guys, is this delay, 4.3%. There it is, 4.3% the unemployment. Huge print here, 130,000
really
on the non-farm payrolls print. Again, the expectations between 50 and 75,000 comes out way above 130,000 jobs created on this delayed print, 4.3%. The unemployment rate. So both of those in the right direction. U.S. private payrolls, also a massive print here. 172,000 on the private side versus 37,000 was the expected on that number. The average earnings, which I was mentioning earlier, also to the upside once again, 0.4% on the month over month versus 0.3%. So guys, right across the board here, huge beat.
Yeah, if we're looking for weak numbers to justify more cuts, that's not what you got. But the spike, we just got the spike in the SPY here. Just if you're looking at the futures, yesterday's high on the S&P futures was 7,000. That'll be like 696 on the SPY. But we basically got to 95, so pushed up kind of to where we were when things started turning the corner in yesterday's trade. Like if you looked at yesterday in a vacuum and sort of just with the first half of the day, we're kind of trending up. We broke the trend at about 695 here on the SPY. That's where we just ticked to overall before getting a bit of a pullback. So yeah, it's good numbers, but obviously, how much are we trusting these? Obviously, we're going to get some revisions here. That's a pretty. Reaction. No, we're not getting a monster reaction here. I wonder if it's a little bit tepid because of what this might mean for rates in March. Maybe that's the reason we're not stronger.
Yeah, I mean, a better jobs market would sense that we don't need to cut rates. There would be no need to do any sort of rate cuts. If you're just, that's just one side of it, right? I mean, there's going to be other reasons potentially, and we'll talk about that. But as far as the jobs are concerned right now, yeah, I think I'm guessing the estimate was just well off, and a lot of people knew it because that's more than double, 68 to 130 or something like that. So you're getting close to a double beat there, or double up on the jobs. And the market, although reacting nicely to it, the Nasdaq was up 0.2, so now you're just up 0.4. A big sell-off in silver against that number right there. So I guess if everyone is thinking that maybe the economy was weaker, you could sort of run to like the commodity space, and with that kind of a number coming out, looks like people decide to dump some silver right now. So this would be the big one for me. I was just looking around and seeing like, okay, now that the number's out, what can we trade? What is moving around? Nothing's really hitting on my scanners violently except for, gold and silver. So gold, whatever, that's, you can see that level twos here are kind of choppy to say the least right now, trying to figure out which way to go, being put in and put out by all these algos. But it looks like silver would be the thing to trade here. Nice downside move. Maybe we'll add this to a short side of things here on SLV today, because yeah, it makes a little bit of sense that silver market would not like a stronger jobs data, but I don't know, man. So shorting silver has been a tough trade. So I think we could also wait for dip buys into yesterday's levels of 74 bucks on silver as well. So
yeah, the Russell just broke out.
Yeah, I mean the Nasdaq's pumping.
The Nasdaq starts. We're gonna get to that 7,000 on the ES, but you've already broken through yesterday's highs on the Russell, and we're also approaching the top for the Russell here. only about 1% away.
Oh,
Let's
boy.
call it maybe a little bit more for the IWM. So that's looking pretty strong. As I was saying, just going to quickly show there's the ES pushing into that 7,000 high from yesterday's trade. So they are liking it. U.S.
Wow.
Payrolls number was, as the forecast weren't close. I think Brendan said Citigroup actually had that big of a number when you just kind of threw that out there.
150 or something, I think you said.
So maybe the next time we pay a little more attention to what Citigroup says before. They seem to have it. They seem to get this one right.
I had mentioned before the number one trade, and I have no idea why this is happening, but the number one trade on my books today was Tesla, and it was a long. And I have no idea why it likes that number so much, but Tesla really reacting right now to the upside play in the futures. Meta, yeah. I mean, it's because it's a $600 stock, but still up $4 is pretty nice for Meta over there as well. I don't know if Nvidia really cares too much about this jobs market right now, but if the Nasdaq does, so does Nvidia, and their Nvidia goes 190 to 190, 140. Man, these are just such a. This market is so cooked, but at the end of the day, it's a nice move higher on what was sort of an unexpected number there, I guess, other than some people had it. There it goes. I'd like to fade this play, but we've seen so many times it comes right back into that number. But this feels like we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, like 5 straight up candles, and it's kind of extended out every time and didn't even break. Like if you're looking here on the Nasdaq, it didn't even break. Like it's past bars highs. Now you're doing it. Now you're going to finally put in a downside play. But that was like 5 extension bars. So I don't know. It's a pretty. Money on the sidelines running in right now today. And the other play that I had was Google going, well, I don't have this written down, but the other one I was looking at was trying to go short here off of 320. We just blasted through there a little bit. So we'll have to wait to see what Google wants to do now at 320. But yeah, wow. Good number and helping out the markets. Not that the markets need any help these days. I mean, they're, like we were just saying, there's a couple indexes right now. The Dow, the S&P, and the Nasdaq are the first two at all-time highs, and the Nasdaq a stone's throw away. So, yeah, it should be an exciting morning for
stocks. Almost pretty much every single stock that I looked at in the last few minutes went up, with the exception of Unity. Like it couldn't even get a bump off of that. It actually broke the lows, but there was even Bitcoin caught a little bit of a bid, not that much. So I'm going to chalk this up on the crypto didn't seem to get it kind of lifted with everything else a little bit, but. You still can work with the prior lows here for sure. And Randy, you don't have to hold up a sign and tell us you brought the coffee. You can smell the cup of Joe. Appreciate it, brother. Oh, that's the actual.
Must have buy Home Depot. Is that orange or red? What color is that?
It's orange.
I think it's like a Home Depot. I think I'm gonna buy some Home Depot today. Randy always has these like little hidden ideas. You know, I think if he's wearing orange, I'm going to assume that he means buy Home Depot.
Why not?
Why not? I don't know why not.
Or it's actually, I just noticed it.
Yeah, what are Randy's stock picks? What the hell, Pops Mafia?
That's the Trade TV live colors that he's wearing.
Yeah, you see how we fade? Like we go red this way.
It goes right into his T-shirt color.
Yeah,
well, I guess I'm
red to orange over there. Man, we're so creative over here.
Apparently.
Okay, let's go back over to the desk. We've got our guests coming through as well. You want to talk about options? We had a great opportunity yesterday or this morning with Joe, but. Yeah, let's go back over to the desk. We got Spot Gamma coming up soon. All right, let's go back over to the desk. Brendan Shreve. Look, it looks like their futures are trying to hold these levels right now, so that's going to be a good thing. Any initial thoughts? Feeling long or short, or what do you guys think about that number?
Sharif off camera there. It's starting to feel a little bit like we're just not going to ever get bad prints anymore on any of these. Like, what happens if now? We get to Friday. I was just seeing that Fed Fund futures, by the way, have now priced in a cut for July. Prior was June. So we're pushing that out already. What happens if Friday we get CPI, and that's also a great print?
And that's the thing, Brendo. That's the thing. I mean, you're kind of caught between two minds. We keep saying the job market's softening and, things maybe not as rosy as we had predicted. And then you look at that CPI print, right? And the CPI, the inflation print keeps coming in lower than expectations, and it keeps dropping little by little, closer to that 2%, and the economy keeps growing. But are we surprised? I mean, yes, the tariff tantrum caught a lot of people off guard. It was a huge market correction. his political opponents took that opportunity to really drive home that he didn't know what he was doing, that the economy was going to fall off a cliff. That has not been the case. We continue to make all-time highs. The Dow, the SPY, they're all near all-time highs. Sure, the Qs are correcting, but a lot of people are making the case that there's more rotation into the market. It's not big tech leading, and as a result, the Qs are not leading.
And here we go. Nasdaq looking like it might want to try at least today to lead things back higher. The other aspect of this is, if we start to see, tech starting to wake up and participate a little bit more and start to, take on some sort of a leadership role once again, I mean, we're only just going to go higher.
Exactly. I mean, my only concern, Breno, is that, the NVIDIAs maybe don't do as well into the future. And this has been kind of my fear, that the leader, of course, the most valuable company in the world by market cap, gets a bit of a headwind. They've done really well over the past 3 years, but now, again, we're seeing sort of disruption in their moat, right? We're seeing these chips come in, they're a little bit cheaper, and, obviously, if you're an accountant for one of these big tech companies, you're looking to shore up costs. And so that's going to be somebody's detriment. And I feel like maybe one of these tech leaders drops off. That has a bit of a correction in the tech market. It's really hard to know, especially with technology.
And one of the reasons I went back and went through that list of some of the expectations prior to that number was simply because typically they're not that wide. Anywhere from 40,000 on the low end all the way up to, as we were saying, like Citigroup was 175. So if you're starting to see such discrepancies in what people are expecting, or what banks are expecting and analysts are expecting, which side of the story do you even believe at some sort of, stage of this? Is it the actual data, or is it what the crowd is feeling, I guess?
Well, yeah, another point to kind of bring it home, so to speak. We've been having job losses in this country. Let's just be honest about it. And a lot of the job losses are heading south of the border for the exact reason that President Trump wanted all along, was to reshore a lot of the manufacturing. So it stands to reason, if we're losing out on this side of the border with respect to jobs, somebody else is gaining. Yeah. And so I feel maybe we're going to see some strength in manufacturing. Do we have any of the information about where we added jobs specifically by sector?
I'll dig into it as we go through the morning here as I get a chance. But to that, just in my, not immediate circle, but peripheral, I guess, I've had two people in the last 6 months, I want to say. One went to California, one went to New York with new positions. So echoing that sentiment. Just to recap here, we are in the process of connecting with Brent from Spot Gamma once again. Andre just setting up Brent and getting him ready to get going here. We'll get his opinion on what this means for the overall market as well. Non-farm payrolls, just to recap here, guys, 130,000, much, much higher than the consensus 70,000 here, 4.3% versus 4.4% on the unemployment rate. So both check marks in the right direction here. Downside from that, government payrolls was the only one that came in red there, negative 42,000. So they're cutting on the government side and increasing everywhere else. Trump made the comment yesterday, I saw, if he wanted to generate the best employment numbers anyone's ever seen, all he has to do is, from the government standpoint, hire 500,000 people. And make the numbers go up that way. And he said he's not going to do that, obviously, but that's implying that that's what happened in the past.
Right. From 2015 to 2024 in this country. Yeah. We added huge amounts of jobs. You're
muted there.
We added huge amounts of jobs in the public sector in this country for 10 years.
Yeah, but I mean, it's in that sentiment that, we are in the position that
it's doable. Yeah. And so what he's saying is accurate, because we did it here. So that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
All right. If you are ready, Andre, let's bring in Brent Kachuba once again. He was a hit. Brent, good to see you. First of all, you were an absolute hit the first time around. Good to see you once again. Welcome back. Let's jump right into it, because we had a lot to get to here this morning. Give me your thoughts here on this jobs number and what it means for the overall market.
Yeah, I'm not a macro specialist, but what I could tell you is that the options market was pricing in a decent amount of volatility for today, probably a little bit more than it's been. And so when you get a jobs number that is benign, meaning, fine or maybe even a little bit better, to be honest with you, I think a lot of people don't even know what a good jobs data print means. Like, do you want bad jobs data so you get a cut, or do you want the opposite? So what you end up just getting is data print happens, vol contracts a little bit, and that helps to lift the market, right? It's just clearing sign and short-dated options traders, 0 DT or 1 DT type people. They'll sell options, and that helps to kind of lift that market up a little bit. And so that's sort of the playbook I'm looking at, is just sort of like, great, we cleared this hurdle, no risk in that print, and we can just squeeze that market a little bit. And what's interesting here is that 7,000 level has a lot of positive gamma, and that's a big area for traders to come in and sell options right into and around that area. So next week we have VIX expiration, and we also have equity expiration. And so I think that SPX 7,000 level can be just this spot where positive gamma brings the market up, kind of pins us down, and maybe we'll see a little bit less volatility than we've seen over recent weeks. So that's kind of what I'm looking at here, is sort of like these macro prints being nothing to really talk about. So vol contracts a little bit, and that helps lift the market up.
Going back to the Nasdaq and the tech side of things, where we might see a little bit more opportunity here, just with the narrative of, okay, so if everything's fine, inflation's fine, employment's fine, we get these rate cuts potentially kicked down the road a little bit further. What does that mean as far as options specifically is concerned with some of these tech names?
Lower rates is good for these tech names, particularly from the CapEx perspective and all of that. And so I just think that that's what the market wants. And if you look at CME Fed Watch, they were showing last week is about a 10% chance of a March cut. Now it's a little bit more like 20%. I haven't seen the data yet for this morning. So if that number starts to slide up a little bit, I just think that's a buoy for markets or a tailwind for markets, particularly the tech space. What I would argue is slightly more interesting is if you look like VRT is a big AI infrastructure name, that's up 16% to all-time highs this morning. So, that's a good signal, I think, for that space. And then the other one that is interesting at this moment is the software space. You and I are both still sitting here despite OpenClaw, right? We haven't lost our jobs quite yet, knock on wood. But the tech sector has absolutely been, or that software sector has absolutely been obliterated, right? And what that did, from my perspective, is those names were overstretched to the downside. I think that's very easy for all of us to see. But from my perspective, the vols went crazy, right? And so what we're seeing now is a big opportunity, I think, for people to sell options in that space. Many of those software names are going to report. Datadog had a really nice report the other day. And so that's presenting this vector of attack for bulls, right? Now we can go into that space, bid that space back up, sell some vol there. So that's a really interesting place to go. And the reason I bring that up is because even though many of those names lost, 20% plus in the last month, S&P hung in there, right? Well, it never really strayed much more than 1, maybe 2% from all-time highs. So if that kind of creates this area of bid for the market, there's vol premium now to sell, where there wasn't really any space for interesting vol premium to sell before. So that's this sort of area where XLK can kind of catch a bid that helps to lift, arguably some of the NASDAQ names that we've been watching or talking about here today. So suddenly there's this little area of opportunity, I think, which is quite interesting, and that helps to, again, put a tailwind under the indices.
As far as the options market is concerned, when it comes to software names specifically, are you seeing more of the focus and more of the attention and maybe more of the opportunity or potential opportunity in those types of names, the smaller types of names versus, Microsoft, I'm just seeing right now up a couple of bucks here in the pre-market, but this is another one that's, had a couple of good days here, but just not even close to where the market is.
Yeah, I think it's important also to frame this. Last time I was on a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the chance of volatility spasms. And, that was a really major theme what we were talking about. And the reason we were talking about that is because single stock options were very expensive relative to index options. And that creates an unstable market environment, right? And so that was what happened 2 weeks ago. That's the position we were in. If you go back and watch our videos, that's our video or our discussion, that's what we were talking about. And then I bring that up because we got spasms, right? I mean, it was a very spasmy market for the last 2 weeks. And finally, we got enough volatility kind of premium. We got some of those bigger names to come down a little bit. It sort of reset the board a little bit. Now, so if you have that lens of, okay, we were due for some spasms and a little bit of a reset, we kind of got the reset a little bit. And so I think what people are saying is, okay, maybe now we're a little more stable. The OpenClaw software thing had this little bit of a crash, I guess you'd call it that way. But these mags were, I don't want to say beaten up, but now they're certainly more interesting today than they were about a month ago when they were sniffing all-time highs. And so, this is a market where dips are just continuing to be bought. And so I just think declines in these big names are still seen as opportunistic or opportunity. And we should continue to kind of see it that way, particularly if the volatility market had this little bit of a reset. So I just think there's that reflexive search for opportunity, buy the dip where you can. And now that makes a little more sense that some of these names, again, had a mild correction.
All right, let's go into some of these stocks that are moving around here this morning. I just had Hood up on my screen in front of me here. A lot of people obviously going to be focusing on this. What are you seeing in some of the earnings names? I mean, start broad over the past couple of days here, and then we'll get into Robinhood.
Yeah. So the space that I think is most interesting in the option space are these software names. This morning in our founders note, we were talking about the fact, we were talking about yesterday how we had very high put prices and very high implied vol. So you had high IV ranks and also what's called a high skew rank, which is saying, look, put prices are really high, options are very expensive, and that creates an interesting opportunity for risk premium, right? Selling puts, selling put spreads, those kinds of trades. And a lot of these names have earnings coming up. CRM, Snow, Into, all these names have earnings coming up. Earnings tends to suck implied vol out, right? We all like to sell options oftentimes into earnings. And so I think that's a really interesting strategy here as these names report and that vol starts to come down, right? So you can definitely, if you're an options trader, I think look at those names in those spaces, and even something like a Microsoft where the IV is relatively high. So I think that's the most interesting thing related to earnings coming up. Again, looking at names like Into, CRM, et cetera, that implied vol is just extremely elevated. You know that earnings is going to drop that implied vol 9 times out of 10, right? And so can you set up trade structures that benefit from a decline? And on that same point, you know, a name like CRM has been down so much, the implied vol is so expensive, so high. You know, whatever disaster they would have to report to beat those bearish expectations, it would have to just be, you know, some kind of incredible miss, right? And so the expectations for a huge number are really high. And so, again, it's hard to outpace those expectations, which is why I like sort of selling options into some of these earnings events. Something I generally don't pay attention to, but here I think it's particularly interesting.
Yeah, next Wednesday we'll get CRM coming through. As far as today or maybe the next couple of days goes here, it's been, you know, we're through the big names as far as earnings go at this point. We'll get into the Nvidias of the world coming up, obviously. But give me your thoughts here for the next couple of days. What are you excited about?
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned Robinhood. Robinhood is a name yesterday, right, that it's down a lot. It's not a software stock. It's a quasi-software stock, I suppose. And obviously that financial sector, some of those names were beat up a little bit. And so, you know, that's going to have a big IV contraction. The name's down 8%. The implied vol is very high there. So it's an interesting name to sort of just backtest. What did vol look like yesterday versus today? How much contraction did we see? And I think, again, you know, the buy the dip opportunity may be coming up here as the stock is down significantly, right? 20 to 30%. You add that earnings discount, you know, it just happened overnight here as well. But the big thing is when that vol contracts, that can put a little bit of a bid into some of these stocks, even though maybe on the macro side or fundamental side, the name isn't terribly interesting. So I think those could be some tradable bottoms coming in here. And then again, watching into OPEX next week, where I still think the S&P is going to be kind of lifted or maybe pinned into the 7,000 level. So that index side is not terribly interesting, but I do think it's going to be a little bit more stable into certainly VIX expiration next Wednesday. And so when you have that index stability, that S&P stability, that offers maybe some better buy the dip opportunities on the single stock side. People were looking at Tesla before, which I think was a kind of an interesting name. You know, as well as some of these software names. I know I keep coming back to those names, but they've been the names that have been most beat up and just kind of most interesting for that kind of tactical tradable bounce.
Yeah, with that catalyst, as we mentioned as well. Speaking of Tesla, about to make a new high here on the session. What is this? 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row back higher here for Tesla. What are you seeing?
That name was sub 400, you know, just a week or two ago, right? When a lot of these other names were coming down. The big strike to watch there is 440. There's a ton of what we call positive gamma. What does that mean? People have been, hedge funds rather, have been selling options in that space, or in that name, I should say, excuse me. And so that implies a sort of grind, sort of stability in the name, certainly into, I think, February OPEX. That's going to be kind of the play. So again, when we're talking about index, not terribly interesting, but single stock is interesting. You know, people are going to look at Tesla and say, oh, this thing is down versus recent highs. This could be interesting, just like the Microsoft Microsoft, right? So this is kind of that opportunity for some of these single stocks, I think, to resync with the index to the upside this time, as opposed to, last week or 2 weeks ago, we were talking about that volatility mismatch. Now you have S&P at all-time highs, so you go, well, what major stocks are not at all-time highs? Oh, let me look at Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, et cetera. And again, these are all kind of short-term tactical moves that I think can be in play. One
more to throw at you here that's on the other side of the spectrum this morning, Lyft, with the Uber argument on the other side of this. I mean, this is getting a little ugly this morning. Not much of a bounce whatsoever. We are back above 14 here for Lyft. Any thought here?
This name tends to be a little bit smaller in the options space. And so also the other kind of funny thing here is when you get names that are lower in notional value or lower in stock price, like $14, right? It kind of, the vol readings that you can get out of some of those names, because zero is not terribly far away, right, tends to be a little bit funkier. And so when I look at Lyft on our dashboard here, there's very few positions kind of $14 and under, kind of where we were last night and kind of where we're going to indicate, I think, this morning. And why is that? It's because, do you want to buy a $3 put and hope that you make $3 on this thing, right? Like, probably not, right? So what you end up with when these names get to really low values is that option space dries up a little bit. Plus, the option sellers aren't as likely to come in on these names when you get, sub 10, certainly, just because the volatility risk premium isn't that interesting, because zero is not that far away, right? So the big thing that I see is there's a lot of call selling at the 18 strike and at the 20 strike, kind of to that upside. But that's so far away now that I just don't think there's an options kind of savior coming in on this name. Joe, I also don't know, are these options claw or open claw kind of, I don't know if these are going to hit on the open claw software side of things. It's kind of an interesting idea or something to think about.
Just so you know, Brent, I know he's off camera right now, but Joe, our other host, absolutely loving the information this morning and completely agreeing with everything. So,
well, I thought you guys like that. That sounds ridiculous, but
no, not at all.
I'm just playing around. I know you were.
Brent, if anyone wants more information on Spot Gamma or some of the products, let them know where they can go.
Yeah, thanks for that opportunity. We're doing a webinar for the TTL community today. If you go to spotgamma.com/TTL for Trader TV Live, we're going to do that webinar today on what's called the vol trigger. And so what's interesting about the vol trigger is it's this signal that we have for where we think the S&P could really start to crash and fall apart. So with a lot of this stuff, we can all kind of conjecture about what the macro picture is and those types of things. But we have this level that, look, if the S&P trades below that level, then we think it's kind of risk off and everyone needs to watch out. So we're going to do that at noon Eastern time today, spotgamma.com/TTL.
Great stuff. Everybody go check that out. Brent, fantastic information as always. Come back, join us again, won't you?
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Good to see you.
Awesome information, and shout out to Brent for coming on through. The crowd loving it for sure in the chat, and got to be loving the market.
Check out the webinar.
Of course. Check out 7,000. The ES just cracked that 7,000 mark, so we're headed to the upside. Let's see what else got. I mean, obviously the numbers upgraded the entire market this morning. Let's see what else got an upgrade here from Joe.
Okay, all right, let's get right into things here. Guys, yeah, fantastic stuff from Brent. I love everything he had to say there and couldn't agree more. The volatility, how we can sell volatility in names like silver. We can go on all day about this stuff, but right now we're going to talk about some upgrades and downgrades, guys. All right, we're going to start some things off with Qualcomm here, going from an outperform to neutral with a price target of around $140. You're down a little bit less than 0.4% here. Norwegian Cruise Lines also getting the downgrade as well too, guys. You're down approximately 0.9% with a price target of $23. You're also going from an overweight to an equal weight here by Barclays, and then Robinhood down 9.25, guys. $135 price target lowered to $100 by Needham here. Once again, Hood down 9.25. Now, NewScale Power also getting the downgrade as well too, guys, going from a buy to a hold here by TD Cowen. Moving forward, we'll take a look at some more positive things. That's going to be Walmart. Don't forget, guys, last week it hit the $1 trillion club with Walmart with a price target increase to $140. That was coming from approximately $120 by BTIG Research. Now, BTIG giving a lot of nods this morning. You can see Cloudflare, NET, up almost 13% here in the pre-market with a price target of around $243. And then Coca-Cola also continuing to climb a little bit higher here, guys. $87 by UBS Group is going to be that target, and you're up a little bit more than 0.1%. And then we have Quad U Energy Fuels up 3.17% here. Goldman giving them the nod with a $30 price target, guys.
Right. It's funny because we were just talking about, I was going to go to Coke, but I have on the sticky note, which is now out. And of course I write it down before this all goes down. And Robinhood was underneath 78. I added 78 long, saying let's, for a quick $2 up to 80. That's kind of happening right now. So I want to thank, our guest there for talking a little bit about Robinhood and potentially getting a little active on that side of things for Hood. And you can see that it is finally starting to bounce back. And interesting to see Coke on a upgrade a couple days after this happened. Again, it's that whole AI disruptive space. I don't know if AI can help or hinder KO. I think it would be helping it, not hindering it, again, on the production side, on the distribution side. And we know that, the Coke and the sort of the fast food type space there, drink space, affected by GLP-1s and everything as well. But you can see they've had a really nice run, and I think buying the dip on Coke is probably a good trade. I mean, Pepsi's been upside as well. They have the Frito-Lay aspect. I can't remember what Coke's big snack side of things is, but there goes Pepsi to the upside. So I think Pepsi had a better quarter and reacted to that. Coke didn't, but Coke on a depressed level might be worth it. So Coke interesting to me.
Yeah, I was looking at Cloudflare over here, and they got an upgrade. What the interesting thing, we talked about this last night. They didn't have, it wasn't a perfect report for net. Like their EPS full year guidance actually was a miss. I mean, the rest of the guide was strong, but they just didn't seem to matter. And that kind of goes to the point, and Brent was sort of talking about how a lot of the software names got beaten up and maybe taken to the woodshed. It felt like it was a little bit overdone. So you ended up in a place where usually we're talking about a name or anybody that has some kind of a miss on the guide is going to get punished and should be down double digits. In this particular case, you actually have them holding on to said strength. It's kind of a welcome sight in this earnings cycle where you get the post-market move, and instead of coming in the next morning and watching us back to where everything started because there was no real buying beyond that, no, it's held on to the gains. It does well. It should open up well above both the 50 and the 200 period moving averages. I don't think it's going to drop $10 in the next 30 minutes or so. I suppose not impossible, but you get some strength coming back in, and it's good to see because there's been this really thin line that a lot of the earnings names have had to toe, especially if they're in tech, which is if it's not perfect, it's not good enough, and sometimes even a perfect report hasn't been good enough. So a good start here for net. Even Unity actually just got a bounce. When we got to 7,000 on the futures, on the S&P futures there, Unity actually finally caught a bit of a bid. So a little relief rally. Didn't quite press into the 23 level, but it did get to that 22.5. And of course, the second I tried to say it was bouncing, and it just dropped a couple of percentage points. Yeah, Unity's on the other end of the spectrum today, unfortunately. Like, you're getting a good bounce in the overall market, but drop in the bucket for a few of these earnings names, which we will go over in our watch list in the rundown right about now. We'll talk about the future. We'll talk about all the interesting names, and there are plenty of them as we have less than a half an hour till the open.
692, guys. That's where we closed at yesterday on the SPY, but we are markedly above that level. We are very close, throwing away from all-time highs here on the SPY. 696.42 is where we're currently looking. So we're going to continue to talk about that 698 level that we top out at multiple times, whether it was back on the 28th of January and again on the 2nd of February. We're looking at clearing that 695 to 698 area, so that's R1, resistance level 1. If we sell off for whatever reason, Brendo, we're looking at that 692 closing print from yesterday as support.
Our chat is funny this morning. There's South Park references being thrown out in our chat so far this morning. That's great. If you haven't done so yet, grab that. Free every day. Comes right to your email. Link is below, as always, in the description. Top link will get you to the sign-up page there, and just enter your email. Just reading a note here on Micron. Micron with a really nice move here on this 830 number back to $400, just like that. In a couple of days, we were at 370 yesterday. Wolf Research just coming through with a positive note there on Micron. Robinhood on a lot of people's minds, including Brent. Thanks again from Spot Gamma. I mean, we're trying to get higher here, but if you look at a Micron, you look at any of the memory stocks right now, just ripping. This thing's not doing anything.
No, and I got to tell you something. The Micron, SanDisk, Western Digital, they all got clipped yesterday. So I hope people, they saw that, and if they're in it or they're looking to get in it, they bought the dip. Let's talk about the hood. Revenue missed, but it was certainly overshadowed here by an EPS beat. Well, maybe not, because it's down 66 pennies here for EPS. That beats the 60, but that revenue number, 1.28 billion, missed the 1.34, and investors really are focusing on that top line shortfall despite other strong operational momentum. The reaction, Brendo, suggests the stock is kind of priced for continued acceleration, and if the market doesn't see continued acceleration, we're going to see drops like this, because you've got a lot of good data here. Total platform assets, 68% bump year over year, driven by a record $68 billion in net deposits for the full year. And their pay tier, we always talk about Robinhood Gold. They increased now to 4.2 million paying members, reinforcing that broader financial super app ecosystem management's been talking about for a while. But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. We knew that crypto probably would have been a bit of a drag, and that was in fact accurate. Revenue dropped for crypto 38%, but it was buoyed by options revenue, which bumped 41%. Equities and trading rose 54%. And then you and I were talking off camera about net interest income. That rose about 40%. They're bringing just $411 million, Brendo, on the quarter from net interest income. So some good here, but we've seen this one better days. It's been it's markedly off the top.
One of the more positive numbers, shout out to Stock Market News on X for this chart and fiscal.ai, but 324 million under custody now for Robinhood, guys. Last year we were at 192, or last year, 192.9 on this chart. So a huge jump in the assets under custody category here for Robinhood.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good things to point to. And I think on the call, Vlad was sort of saying that, hey, 80% of revenue isn't from crypto. And so why is everyone going to be focused on that? Well, I mean, come on. We know why we're focused on that. Because that's where the chink in the armor was with that 38 decrease. It's not just that it was a decrease. It was a sizable one, almost a 40% when looking at it. But Robinhood is holding, there's a kind of an important zone that I have today, and it's right in here. It's prior breakout, resistance, support, like 77 to 80. So I think you've got chop zone here. You've got breakout over 78. And then if we lose the 77 level, there's gap fill underneath for Robinhood. So I'm like, it kind of flies in the middle of this range, all pre-market, but we didn't necessarily bust out of it. I think if you get any continuation past 80, this could really fly. But I also don't think that we should completely ignore some other names that might be moving around on this, because I don't want to completely forget SoFi. I'm just going to throw this one out there because it got to that 22 level, and I'll slap the fail for didn't have it on the radar yesterday. It got to 22, pretty much exactly 22, and I had a resistance line set for this, and for whatever reason, and when you're looking for a breakout, it never actually broke out, so it didn't end up mattering, but that should have been an obvious trend break short off the 22 level. So if we see a relief rally in Robinhood, I do suspect you might see SoFi challenge that 22 after all, even though it got there and failed, but this should be on the radars. Now they've already obviously SoFi's already reported, kind of sold off on a good report, let's be real, but it's made a little bit of a rounded bottom and has a chance to break this one out as well.
For me today, I wrote down 78 long. I feel like the selling's overdone. I mean, a 57% increase in notional trading equity, 57% decrease in crypto trading. I just think we can get a quick rebound here. So I just, looking at it, you can go find the sticky note out there and see if you like it or not. But $78 is where VWAP is. Where's my mouse? Right here, right now. So yeah, a little bit of a dip down. Now, I wrote this note when we were underneath 78, but it should be volatile enough right off the open that this is something to look at. Maybe your out's going to be 77.50 or so. But yeah, you could definitely see a flush down. As Joe had mentioned, the implied move was around where we're at right now. So I'm not expecting a huge amount of volatility, but the name is Robinhood, and we've seen it move just on a random day. So yeah, on earnings, this should get going. I like a 78 dip buy in this name, and I think you're been well oversold now, and there's not enough in the report, in my opinion, to justify
not looking to either DCA into this or even pick something up. I'm never owned any Robinhood shares, but nothing wrong with doing a little bit of dipping now into this name. So for the day trade though, I like the VWAP hold, and whenever there's a gap, we say play to VWAP, but now you're over it, and I already like the long, so we can play it back into VWAP, but not something to sit and get run over early. Let's see if it winds up holding like this 77 area, and then if so, maybe we can take it back to the upside. So I think you can play momentum today with Robinhood. Should be an aggressive one. The imbalances are going to come out at 925, so we'll be able to see if we're on the right side of the game then. This is what the imbalances look like now. They're obviously only with New York or Amex names, so we don't have anything like there's Unity with a sell. They're all pretty small right now. So let's see what happens with Robinhood. It's not calling 78 long or anything like that. This is just a level that we're going to look at, and I prefer the long right now that we're down 9%. I mean, it was just down 8%, now it's down 9%. So, as the volatility is in this name here today, let's just watch out for VWAP. I think that's an important level to pay attention to. And then the break lower too, right? Like, I mean, if you break this 76.50 area, then you're going to go SSR. You could get an SSR bounce, but that'll be the last time, once it breaks the 10%, that you're able to sell off the bid. So that could create also more of a flush action as people pull their bids, and we wait to see, how far this thing can go down. So kind of a tale of two strategies there. If you break that low, I think we continue to push it there, or I could really see us flush, hold, and then rip back $81, $82 target on a 78 long. So the risk to reward is here on Robinhood today. SoFi is actually a decent position for myself, so I'm hoping that can rebound as well. But not a great day for some of these fintech names. Although, what about Upstart? Upstart had a report.
We didn't even mention Upstart. That's right.
That's why I'm here. Yeah. So here's Upstart right here. I mean, we had this call on the call yesterday, but look what it's doing. Nothing. So there we go. Upstart's been like one of those wild movers, man. I mean, Upstart was like a $500 name or something back in, I mean, we don't have to zoom back out. We know where it is now. But this is coming into a level as well. I mean, some of these names aren't that beat up over the last couple of weeks. Upstart is a name that's fallen off the 50-period moving average, trying to hold the bid now. So this is funny because it kind of rocketed higher. Now it's not doing much on volume right here. Upstart's going to be a mover today for sure, and it's only down 1%. So, pay attention to Upstart. I didn't go over the earnings or anything like that, but that's just another name here. Upstart, Affirm, SoFi, Robinhood, all these kind of recent fintech names that have come to market in the last, 5 or 10 years have a lot of action and a lot of both love and hate behind them. I mean, look at Affirm. That's been getting really, walloped. And I don't know what this has to do really with AI, but Affirm downside here today. Upside, but down on the chart. So watch out for possible battlebacks for Upstart, Affirm, SoFi, Robinhood today. Maybe that whoosh moment happened yesterday with earnings, right? So let's see if Robinhood can get back off the mat, so to speak.
Another one making a comeback here, Shopify this morning, trying to get through some key resistance levels this morning. Not a lot of volume behind this yet, but pretty good look. I mean, the number's not bad. Profit, it looked like, was the only real question mark as far as the report goes, but higher on the day anyway.
It was decent report. 13. Where were they up? 13.5%. Where are we right now? 11% here on Shop. All right, revenue, guys, 3.67 billion. That's up from the 2.81, and that beats the expectations of the 3.59 billion expected by the consensus of analysts. Adjusted EPS slightly below 48 pennies. The street wanted 50, which is also reflected on the next line, as Brendo mentioned. Net income declining to 743 million, which is about 57 cents per share. That's down from the 1.29 billion they brought home a year ago, but it really reflects the normalization after a prior outsized profitability period. It was definitely a one-off for them and not continuous. Gross merchandise volume, which is the amount of products that they sell on all their affiliate websites. A big, Brendo, 123.84 billion. That's up from 94 billion last year, so a big top-line number there. Free cash flow continues to rise, and margins remain healthy. But as we saw with that miss on net profit, the compression here suggests that they're leaning heavily into investments and kind of trying to grow the company.
If you zoom out a little bit, 145 has been a bit of an issue for this thing over the past couple of weeks. We've tested it a few times. We're right there right now, guys. Still in a downtrend, though, overall for Shop.
Yeah, I mean, I think you could make some kind of an argument that this downtrend is being broken. Like you close above the 200 here. It's also above that 135 support, because there's another way to look at it. Sure, we didn't end up punching through that 145, and for the dip buyers out there, like if I wouldn't argue with the ring register. It was a bit of a mixed report. You can't really argue with that, with the EPS miss and overall there's some margin decline. You can make the argument that, part of it was how far they were able to drop, and then you've got a little bit of a dead cat bounce because it was strong already going into earnings. 2 big days going about $15-20 off that 110 level. So it was already doing some work. And the key is going to be, can we hold on to this 135 to 138 level today on Shop? It's very, very choppy, really thin book. I'm in a dollar spread right now and super choppy in the pre-market, as you guys can tell. So you do have a pretty wide runway, that 35 to 38 for the open. It held the top end of that range early. I'm not going to have this on the trading radar, but I think you want to definitely give this one a couple of days. The fact that it already arrested the move 2 days before earnings and caught that big bounce might limit a little bit of the upside here today for Shopify. And then throw in the fact that it was a bit of a mixed report. It's hard to see. I'm not really seeing this one at 150, at least not today.
I was thinking, I know they're different names, but Shopify and PayPal, one's going one way, one's kind of going the other right now. And I wonder if PayPal's just been a little bit, and we said this with Brian yesterday. It's really a dog's breakfast, basically, to try to chase, names that have been crushed like this and trying to say, this is the bottom. But I'm just this is now 4 days upside right now for PayPal. So we just sort of mentioned there, the stock Brendan just mentioned, there was a name that was, Tesla, that was 3 or 4 days straight upside there. And you could do worse than finding PayPal and then using 40 or 38.80, something like that, even $40 as your stop for potentially a swing trade back to the high side, especially on, transaction volume increase there on Shopify. People are still using PayPal, I guess, just not to the same extent. They've had management reshuffle and everything like that. So, I do think that this stock is, as I talked about that just a couple of seconds ago, not the greatest stock to look at. Chart-wise, it's broken. But if you're going to look down for names that could potentially have a little bit of a beat to it, 42.50 right there, this take and then rip back to the high side using 38 as your out. If it works and you have a little bit of a timeline under your belt, I think this could work out for PayPal. So PayPal and Shopify, block all those names. Shopify, the clear winner after this report, but still downtrending. And PayPal might be worth something there if it breaks 42.50 here today.
All right, Unity, pretty ugly here as well. Back to $22. We're through that low from last week here in the pre-market, but it is trying to hold $22. This is another software name. Downside huge.
Exactly, Brendo. $503 million is what they brought in on revenue. They operate in 2 main segments. The Create solutions, that's software tools for developers, and then they have their Grow solutions, which is advertising. Create brought in $165 million. Grow brought in $338. So really focusing on that advertising. GAAP net loss of $89 million, or about 21 pennies per share, but they did deliver adjusted EPS of positive 24 cents per share. But that GAAP number is still negative. They have about $121 million in operating cash flow and about $119 in free cash flow. And they ended the year with a $206.6 billion in cash equivalents. With respect to guidance, their growth segment is supposed to deliver flat to sequential revenue in Q1, while the Create segment is projected to return to double-digit year-over-year growth. So we'll have to see how they do.
This stock, if you zoom out way out, has done absolutely nothing, essentially, since this is 2022. $25, I guess, $30 range here, guys, for Unity in the past 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, but it's also cut in half in literally 2 weeks. Or maybe 2.5 weeks, whatever it works out to. It's been nasty. And what's crazy is it was worse going back to the end of January 2 weeks ago than it is today, right? It's easy to sort of to forget. We were chilling out at the end of the month at $42 on the stock in an uptrend at $42. And now all of a sudden, fast forward to 2 weeks from now, and we're talking about growth acceleration not good enough, and we're talking about maybe retesting some levels from early last year. So yeah, not looking good for Unity. It got a bump when the futures made the nice move on our jobs data this morning. Eventually, it got a bump. Before it made a fresh low, eventually got that bump, so it's back above VWAP. But it's into like the first spot when the earnings dropped that it actually caught any kind of a bid was right around this 23 area. Right, so that was the first place people tried to buy, and that's where it failed. So if it can't get past, I mean, oddly enough, it actually went to 23.07 just a couple of minutes ago, and still looking like it's trying to pull back in. So that's the one place. If we're not breaking through 23, I think the short's still valid, even if it already fell down 20 bucks on Unity. It's also going to be that prior. Let me go to the 15-minute, and you can see it a little bit better. That also coincides, of course, with like these prior lows. So if you go back to last week, until you get back through those lows, this one can still be a short. It, of course, will be SSR, so you can't hit the bid unless there's an uptick once the open happens. And I should suspect it probably stays more than 10% down in the next 10 minutes.
A name that I like in this space, and we've talked about Roblox, and I thought that this Take Two number, and it's really stupid because like I should be in the money right now, like 15 bucks, because when this number came out, I was like, I would only be in this name for Grand Theft Auto. So, and that's coming out in November. So, we're really realistically moments away. I mean, people have been waiting 15 years for this thing. We can wait another 8 months, but if it is 8 months, no delays or anything in Take Two. Moving forward, I don't know. I mean, they could always delay the game, but I'm pretty sure November is just around the corner. And if they can make that deadline, then I think Take Two on what should be a very interesting release party and couple weeks leading up, after for Grand Theft Auto. So I would say people take a look at Take Two. And then Roblox, as these game engines, we had that release from Google talking about that they're trying to get into that space. That's really all that, Unity is the game engine. Roblox you can obviously build on top of as well. I mean, these are, user-generated platform games. So I think on any weakness of Unity, Roblox is probably a buy. I hesitate on Roblox because I do know that there's, parental concerns, and then there is the whole thing about how, certain countries are locking down screen times and different apps that kids are able to use and blah, blah, blah. Things like that. So I do notice and understand that there is some risk in the Roblox, which is actually why I like Take Two the most out of all these ideas. I think if you want to just sort of sit in something where your money should be pretty safe here, you gotten hit over the last 2 weeks. I think the upside is still there for Take Two Interactive. I don't really see downgrades happening ahead of the game or anything. So I like TTWO down here. I don't know, people, what's up? I have to respect IREM Gaming here because you have it in your name where you said Rockstar Games right there. So, yeah, I don't know, but I'm not really a gamer myself. The only thing I play is NHL 2025. But yeah, so EA Sports is already taken private. So, anyways, Take Two. I like the stock. I think it's a good value down here after earnings. So. Back over to the desk.
I'm going to go get a Lyft. We're just talking about Lyft versus Uber here. Let's touch on LYFT. I mean, some of the numbers actually not that bad. There's a lot of pluses right down the list as far as bookings and things of that nature are concerned. But as we were saying before, I mean, sometimes a beat is just not good enough.
Not good enough. And this is down markedly here. What are we down here? 16%. Where's my Lyft? Yeah, 16 2/3. And what Brendo and I were talking about off camera, Lyft's market cap is $5.6 billion with this latest 16% drop. Juxtapose that to Uber, it's at $153 billion. I know Uber's got many more business segments, but definitely didn't think the variance was that big. Q4 revenue, guys, 1.59 billion. That misses the expectations by a long shot of 1.76. Revenue did grow though 3% year over year, so there is top line momentum. Bookings rose 19% up to 5.07 billion. That's in line with estimates, and their net income 2.76 billion, or about 672 a share. Although the EPS is not comparable because of one-off estimates from the previous quarter, not previous quarter, last year on the quarter. Active riders, Brendo, 29.2 million, misses. Total rides, 243.5 million, misses. A key negative for demand visibility, certainly. Adjusted EBITDA is coming in at 120 to 140, but that is below as well. And for whatever reason, management's flagging that California legislation that reduced insurance costs actually led to lower riders. So people got a cut or a break on their insurance, and then they, used ride sharing less. One positive, the board, they approved $1 billion share buyback.
And no one cares as far as the market is concerned. We tried to hold 14 there briefly once again. It's just kind of chopping around back and forth. I was just reading, BMW trades over in Germany, but BMW just confirming a global recall, saying product inspections and customer complaints revealed that the starter motor in the identified vehicles could be defective. It doesn't actually provide which ones those are, but
Randy's chuckling.
Randy's laughing.
He doesn't like BMW.
Doesn't like BMW.
Well, he does like
Randy?
Rivian, and Rivian reports tomorrow.
Uh-oh.
Ooh, Rivian Randy.
Like some Rivian. I'm going to buy some options on Rivian.
Let's go, Rivian.
Where's Joe at?
Where did he go? Well, you know what? He's probably not taking a Lyft anywhere because it looks like everyone's only taking Uber, apparently. That's how they roll. Brendan talked about the 14. Well, on a weekly chart, if we don't hold $14, that's the 200 period on the weekly. You don't hold that this week, then it looks like toast till 10, and that looks like the spot. If we hold on to 14 this week, however, then you could see a nice reversal. So it's an important day for Lyft, but I mean that 14 level is where you got to look. The $10 level is where you got to look next. What I don't like about this, remember we were showing you guys Unity and like Robinhood and just a bunch of names that were catching bids that were gapped down? And Lyft barely even got off the schneid here. So I actually didn't have Lyft on my list. But there's a lot of, you should usually say, it's like if it doesn't break the low, there's only one place to go. Well, the market's breaking out. And if you don't break out the highs when the market's going here, even the depressed names are catching a bid. And this thing doesn't break 14.4. I can't see a way that it isn't a relatively weak name to try to pick on. That said, I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't. Yeah, of course, we get free locates on Lyft. I don't know why I would have thought we had to pay, but no, I don't like them. If they can close the week over 14, I think you have a little bit of an opportunity for a bounce level looking at the weekly chart, but you don't resolve that until the 3-day rule. So you got to think about that on, I was going to say Monday, but that would be Tuesday because the market's closed on Monday.
I would just say buy Uber. Uber's actually up here today against that Lyft number. So I'm already in this name, so I am talking my own stock here, but like all these names that I'm in, I was looking last night, like I'm in like 10% like of what I'm in on Meta and Microsoft. Like I am way too overblown on these mega cap names. But anyways, I like Uber better than Lyft, and I think that, if you're gonna play the game, obviously Lyft's been beat up there. I do like that $1 billion buyback. Nothing at all here on the Nasdaq hitting anything of any significance. I mean, maybe IBIT, we talked a little bit about that. I still do like the IBIT short in and around here, to be honest with you. And it just actually, I put down 39, like, it's crazy that I write down 39 short, and that's exactly, like if you're looking for something off the note, we have IBIT, the second trade is 39 short. Anyways, maybe it comes back in there. Other than that, though, nothing going on here. ZSL, that's going to be the silver name. That's going to be a buy, so that's a short in silver then. And other than that, like nothing else of any, Snapchat. We talked about that the last couple of days. Maybe that breaks $5 today. I don't know. That's flats on the day. All right, one more, Cloudflare. Let's go over there and get that going.
Positive to negative earnings reports today. So here's another one. Back higher. We're above 200 and change, actually, 201 even. Trying to hold here. I mean, pretty good right across the board. I was just looking through, looking for a negative number. Doesn't seem to be much of that.
No, and it's reflected in the price action. 12.25 in Greenville here. Brendo to start the morning. EPS 28 pennies, beating 27 and up from the 19 they took home last year. And Cloudflare has beaten EPS estimates in the last 3 of 4 quarters, with that revenue number growing by 4.12%, $614 million. A nice beat there. And they've topped revenue estimates 4 out of 4 of the last quarters, so not bad. Shares were down, or are down. I don't know about right now, but they were down 11.9% year to date. And here's what they're guiding for the next quarter. They're saying a next quarter EPS going to be 25 pennies on revenue of 611.81 million. And for the full year, Breno, they're talking about $1.16 EPS on 2.72 billion in revenue.
Looking good so far for NET. Remember, no other real significant data to deal with today. CPI coming up on Friday. Not that we need anything after that huge jobs report this morning, guys.
A reminder, you had Micron speaking at a conference. They actually breached very briefly the 400 level. That's looking pretty strong. We got about 90 seconds to go here, so we have some time. Nvidia is potentially breaking this 192. So it failed it. Look, it failed this level yesterday. It failed that level the day before. It failed that level 2 weeks ago. Today it's making a very good shot. Again, the 190, on any failed breakout, the 190 is going to be a key. It turned into resistance, obviously, for the rest of the session, but I do like that level. I had Intel on the note as a 47 long into 48.5. The 47 long is gone, and I don't know how much I love the 48.5 if we're already screaming into it. This could be one of those wait for something to set up if there's like a dip back in to even get that 47, and then wait for the 50 level for the fade. So lots to watch here. I also have BMNR on the list, as this will load up in a quick little second. We're already right at the afternoon short levels that we had, but I don't want to jump into anything right off of the bat. I think being patient at the open has actually played out a little bit better. Up 3% here as Bitcoin and ETH actually bouncing. We're still under 70,000, but ETH is right at 19.9. So you're pretty much at the 2,000 level for ETH. So I want to see it fail 2,000 if I was going to short BMNR. We do have hump day right now. I got Robinhood after their earnings. We've got Cloudflare. We've got the market blasting through 7,000, and we're ringing the bell right there.
All right, everything that we had on watch is blasting. So, we're going to have to watch out for Tesla. Watch out for IBIT up there. 38.75 will be the first take. I'm just going to try to run the sticky note today and see how that winds up working out. Robinhood right there. Went down to 77, just took 78. Here it goes, upside for Robinhood. We can see if that one has some legs to it as it's trying to get higher through $80. That's a marker that we're looking at right there. Bye-bye, Tesla. I'm sitting here to try to get some long, but it's not going to work because Tesla right now is just a moon to the upside. So see you later on Tesla. And then the other name, I had Tesla, IBIT, Nvidia, Robinhood written down. Nvidia dip buy opportunity into 191. If that can happen, we'll take that as well. But right now, Nvidia to the moon, Tesla to the moon, Robinhood probably to the moon. And, just gotta wait for this little initial sort of euphoric bid that's hit the market here on a great jobs report. So, jobs upside more than double the expectation. So up jumps the boogie right now in the market. And wow, Tesla, man, what a monster. We're really glad to own this one, obviously, as there it goes, man. 432 coming in for Tesla. Monster right there, man. So here we go.
Yeah, even the Nasdaq and ES are both absolutely blasting. Tesla's gone, that Intel is now gone. Unity's right back into the lows, however, so I guess what is dead may still die, apparently, as that's back under VWAP, challenging these lows. If we get any kind of a push back up, the first place I look is going to be VWAP if we don't get a shot at that 23. And, all right, that's a bit weird. See, this is the problem with BMNR. ETH was at 19.90 at the open. It's at 19.93 right now. BMNR just dropped 2.5%. That's right, Ethereum literally didn't move. If anything, it went up, and BMNR dropped 2.5 percentage points. Yeah, I'm still going to be bearish on this, that's for sure. So next available pop, I'm going to look for probably the 2030 area into 2050. Is market going higher? Bitcoin's not moving, but a BMNR looking nasty.
All right, we'll take out 50 cents quickly on Nvidia. We did buy a little bit of the dip. I mean, I want to get a lot more, man. Like, if we can get something into 192, that's kind of where I'm bidding right now. So here it comes, falls in, then we can get a better average price. And then we'll wait to see, like, if the market gives it up, then we can get out on this kind of a break right around here, 190.50, or sorry, 191.50. If we break too much below. So we now are, we're coming in right now. So watch out for this 191.50 coming in on Nvidia. So yeah, good long. Hopefully it will still continue to print out upside, but we'll take some out just in case that dip down there was an indication of what's to come. I was just at 192.30s there and got missed somehow. So hopefully we do blast up. I'm at 192.33, I guess. I just hit offer enter, but here we come. It's trying to hit the downside right now again. So yeah, be patient here, right here. The market could give back some of these job numbers, and if they do, then we can get out. So let's just play that level right there, 191. If it breaks 191, we'll get out of Nvidia and then just regroup this a little bit. But yeah, so far we're on this name, and it's going to put in my 190 stop, and then if that hits, it hits, and we'll regroup it. I mean, we haven't had, you know, super hot fire trades off the jump recently either. We may be making money in the afternoon and stuff, but there goes Nvidia. Hopefully it can go, and we'll be able to sit on it. Robinhood breaks back down below 78, so with only 3 minutes to go, we did touch the 80 mark that we mentioned, and back in now. So just be careful here as we go. So watch out for Robinhood dancing around here on a name that we knew was going to be very, very active today. And holy speechless. Tesla, I was trying to think of a word there without, you know, using the obvious, but now up 3%, 2.5%, almost hitting that 3% mark. Tesla right now up $10 straight to the upside. Let's see if
you didn't say Schnenkes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about.
Oh, I knew.
Let's see if, and I was like, no one's going to understand that. Let's see if Nvidia can follow suit. The only position I'm in Nvidia, and I don't know if you've been in anything yet.
Nothing yet.
Okay, so here we go.
I'm kind of kicking myself. Look, I like Tesla off the 420 level, but the 428 breakout should have been in there. And my note was 48.50, 47 to 48.50 on Intel. It just double tapped 48.50, so I got to listen to myself. I know I wanted the initial long into this first, but we were nowhere close. What are you gonna do? The jobs number, we were less than 1% away. The jobs number took us all the way into the top. We just made a 48.6 high, and BM&R sucks. ETH still is barely even moved, and BM&R is falling all over.
Let's go, Nvidia. What the hell?
Trash. So I'm going to try to get short here in the 40s on Intel. Got to be able to give it to that high, of course. And just to show you, like getting into the short on BM&R, it's like, you got to be kidding me. Like they are absolutely crushing this thing to the downside. It's already through 19.7 and continuing to go down. So I haven't been able to get a single share, and I've stopped chasing it. I'll just wait it. It's VWAP or nothing at this point.
Yeah, I'm just getting out some Nvidia. We got some 192.08s there just for fun. I don't, still trying to hold all this, see if it goes. Man, we nailed crypto. Thanks for that talk there in the chat. Whoever mentioned that to me there. Yeah, like, you know, that was the exact price. So I think like for IBIT and SLV and all these things, if it gets hit in the pre-market, I should be able to sit there and take it. You know, the volatility on an IBIT or on an SLV, it doesn't necessarily need volume to go. I mean, it's a 24-hour market. So we should be a little better on our IBIT trading. So we should have already been short, but good call and thank you for the call out on that one. But here we go. So I say this all the time, but we are at our daily goal right now, just with Nvidia alone. So here goes Nvidia, nice upside. But hey man, I've been at this goal and given it back numerous times. So let's see if Nvidia does have now the juice to get going. We'll take a little bit out there on the high side on the way up. Just start to rack some of those wins out now as Nvidia hits VWAP right there. We took a small piece early. We took a much bigger piece late. Sorry, that was the early. That was bigger. That was a small little average in at VWAP because we were nervous of that breaking. So just a couple quick outs. But look at the market, right? So this is part of the trade. So I don't know where Nvidia is going to go, but if the market does turn around, the reason why I'm on this name is because of VRT. So Vertiv today, wow, 240, 250, now up 25%. I mean, the data center build out is real and they're being built out with chips. So I was thinking Nvidia could be the beneficiary of said report there by Vertiv today, and it doesn't really it is, but it's not really getting the juice that I had hoped. So a couple good outs there on the upside. Remember where we're getting stopped out, man. If this breaks 191, we are out on this trade. So we took about $1 there, but you know, to lose $1 is fine, and we'll be out if that one goes. So yeah, need some more juice over here on Nvidia. So you're short.
Intel's got plenty of juice.
Yeah,
I'm going
does
to
it?
kick
Okay.
myself not being in the long, but it went to my level. Come on, BM&R. All right, no. This stock will not, I cannot get a fill in BM&R. It's hilarious. Every time I try to get in, we wicked the top, jumped right back in on the wick high, but now I'm out of it. I got to sit it out from 48.5 till the 50 level. So this is the only place I was looking for a reversion, and we wanted the long off 47. We're obviously not going to get it. And BM&R just continues to fall. Every time I kind of chase it down a little bit here, it just seems to resist. We're now at 19.7, so ETH is falling to the downside. Bitcoin is also still falling.
Yeah, shit.
But BM&R started first, and this is the one I wanted to pick on off of yesterday. In the afternoon, we were sort of short and working these levels in here at about 20 1/3. So still no fills. I'm just leaving the order in there, and you can see it's not really sweeping me in off the volume-weighted average price. Unity was the other name that we're looking at off the open. We cancel VWAP. Unity's about to break low of the day, almost 30% down here for Unity, and still going lower. Maybe SoFi is giving some. Whoa, what the heck happened to SoFi?
Probably getting smoked.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yep.
Okay,
Right.
so, well,
Bye-bye.
yeah, we're not going to be trading the $22 level on SoFi today.
Well, it's because, yeah, it was an easy call because of Robinhood, right? I mean, Robinhood right now, we said, you know, watch out for that break right there. It looks like it does wind up breaking right there. Now is going lower on this one. So, you know, all the lines still continuously pointing down there. We, you know, on earnings, we talked about that 78. I still don't mind it if we could base and jump and get through it. But yeah, right now Robinhood has some concerns.
To do?
Yeah, some explaining to do, I would think, at this point. Well, it doesn't really. I mean, the earnings are explaining it enough, but there goes Robinhood right now. We may get out. We may get stopped out here. Like I said on Nvidia, I mean, you know, this market is not really stopping to the downside right now. I mean, you get some good job number there, and it's giving it all back, pretty much all of it, right? I mean, that's the number right there, the bump right to VWAP. So let's see if we can get going just a little bit now. It would be nice if Nvidia gets going. And it's not meme crazy right now. If anything, it's going to the downside. Normally, it just starts to lift offers, and right now it's not. Like, it goes up and stops and gets hit right back to the downside. Just so, you know, I'm very, very fine with stopping this out on a 191 break, because it looks like that's. If I don't like it, I can get out right here, but I want to be part of it in case it gets to the backside of this. So I'm willing to risk the 30 cents right now and get out if this does break 191 and just say, okay, you got me there, and it looks like it's going to happen here. So here comes a downside break on Nvidia. I would say imminent on that one. It does not want to go higher. Just keeps on fighting that bid. So it looks like it's going to get hit. Tesla makes a move back into VWAP, so that's, you know, might be the buy there as well. You know, off of a VWAP. So, you know, like a name that's been proven strong today, maybe it winds up holding that bid, right? I mean, Ford had earnings last night. We can see how that's reacting to that. It's still not breaking that $14 mark here for Ford. So that name's struggling right now to get going as well. Just a quick check. I know.
Bye-bye, Tesla.
You had it. Yeah, bye-bye Tesla. Down or up?
No, it just
Up. Yeah. I know you were looking at, you were in Intel, but now you're in BM&R, so that's good. I was just going to see, like, Intel straight up and AMD is kind of straight down, as is NVIDIA. So, yeah, we're going to have to figure this all out. It looks like Intel is the one that's got the money behind it right now. But, yeah, upside for INTC, man, up 3%.
Yeah, those chips are looking pretty solid, at least the Intel is, and Micron as well. But BM&R had to move down a little bit. It just would not fill into the volume-weighted average price, so stepped into the 70s, and you can get fills in the 70s, but still want to respect VWAP. And when I said Tesla's gone, I didn't mean it lost the volume-weighted average price. It held the volume-weighted average price at 432. So if we're taking the stairs up, that's the first place to look outside of the prior high. Outside chance you could still get that if the futures continue to the downside. But I think VWAP's going to be the spot. I want to see some green in here, though. All you have is a reversal candle, and you heard Brent talk about the 440 this morning. He talked about how important that level was going to be. We got pretty close and already pulling back. So there's room to the 440 level still for Tesla, so want to respect it as far as it wants to go. Intel, I said I would sit out take my shot at 48.5, sit it out till 50. 50 has been the big spot where the real reversion has come in for INTC. And just one more, that Unity still not bouncing. 30% down. There's even been a green candle. There has not been a green candle on the open yet, but we'll look for that volume weighted average price if we can get it. A $20 breakdown just feels like too much when it's down 30%. So I'm not going to be punching through the low here. Maybe you get like a false break, pull back up, and then short into that move. I was thinking short the pops on Unity. Disaster at that stock. Disaster.
Yeah, too bad about Unity. They're continuing going lower there. We did, and again, thank you for all the talk in the chat. I mean, we absolutely nailed this thought today, but unfortunately not in it. But there you go. Congratulations, anybody. You're in BMNR. Anybody in IBIT as well. Nice move on that one. Okay, Nvidia Hood. Let's go back to Robinhood just real quick. As another name that a lot of you are probably looking at. We just touched out to 78 again and fell from that level. So a potential look there. Okay, so we did get stopped out of some of our Nvidia, right? But obviously, there it goes back there to the upside again. So now we're into the dollar club finally on Nvidia, as now it starts to go a little meme craze. So there it goes, nice upside play there, as now we can finally buy some back here on Nvidia. Watch this get up to the upside. Yes, thank you so much for everybody there in the chat supporting some of these plays. But just in Nvidia, and we'll be green on that name. So we got to get into Tesla though, as Neil just mentioned. That seems to have been upside. Let's see if Rivian is also having a day today. Yeah, 15. So this was just at 14:30, I thought, yesterday or something like that. Nice move there for Rivian as that continues just a bit higher. Not a nice move for Rivian, actually. Nice move early, and now the fade out. So I don't know what I'm talking about. Puff, puff, pass on that one. But yeah, there it goes, man. Nvidia, the champion. Now Nvidia's $1.50 now in the money and going higher. So yeah, man, lows into the account. Where do we have Nvidia? Dip buy on Nvidia. It happened, and it was fantastic. So hopefully crypto's still working out for you. But right now, Nvidia's $2 in the money. It's one of those face slappers put on today, Nvidia.
Yeah, so my focus is trying to get into Tesla, hopefully. BMNR is at the B level, not the A level, so I'm not going to risk the boat on this. If it can hold to 20, great. If it doesn't, then we want that high where we should have had the short in the pre-market. I just don't like the short in the pre-market, but I'm looking VWAP on Tesla, obviously, as it's trying to break that top. As I said, there's room till $440 when you pull out that 15-minute chart. So don't mind chasing a little bit, but I don't want to chase too far. Unity still too far gone, obviously. That one not really catching any bids, so the short in Unity is maybe not going to happen until a little bit later on in the session. All right, Tesla, you're not dipping anytime soon. We can go back over and have a quick look at that Robinhood. I wanted to see if that's still holding 77. 80 was the level that I liked on the hooded one, and I had a whole shot. It's like a shot zone between 77 and 80. I wanted to sit out, only trade it if it can bust through that 80 level. But if we break down on Robinhood, I hate to say it, there's a little bit of a gap fill on that 15-minute chart to be respected, and Intel is. It's looking like it wants that 50 shot. So took the shot at 48.5. When we get to 50, that's where I go for the reversion. Just stick to what has been working this year so far. Don't want to chase any moves. It's only VWAP. It's only trend reversions for me.
Salvador, man, we are a team around here, and you are welcome, and congratulations on your trade, my friend, as you go along with your boy on Nvidia. It's another one. Hopefully you can all join Max in his Lambo. So nice little trade there, and hopefully that continues to work out for all of us as we're back up to 193. And I do have some outs up here at 193. I don't have that very top of 193.25. So let's just take out one more piece, and then we'll see. Ooh, nice little drop down there. Let's take out one more piece. No, nice little drop down again. We'll keep taking out pieces here on the high side, just for that example, as the market can fall down at any time. So we're offering 65s there. We're offering 85s. Hopefully we can get that out. And lighter. We only have about a third or so. No, actually about a quarter of our position left. So good couple outs, man. We did get a lot out right here at 191.75 or so. Then the climb up into 192.30, and just trying to see if we can hold a little bit to the upside. And I think we did pretty good there getting those. There we go. Give me those 65s. Yeah. So we just got that as well. Let me check out Marvell, what's going on over there, as this is a name. This is right at where, we're long for that yearly competition. It's made a nice move high side, but now it's fading out just a little bit. A name I like in this environment is actually Boeing. I think Boeing is going to be a great play for the next 3 to 6 months or so on the upside. So let's try to continue to watch out for some Boeing. Just check back in on Robinhood as well. So Robinhood's holding fine, man. Maybe this is the big bid longer rate there. So yeah, here we go, man. So far, so good here today. We'll go 1 for 1 and count our chickens as they hatch and get them out on the way up there for Nvidia.
Yeah, strong jobs number, obviously, this morning, as you can see across the board, showing that the economy is apparently strong, according to Labor.
That's for sure.
Labor Secretary. Let's wait till we get some revisions on that before we actually trust. These job numbers, they have not always been that reliable in terms of holding up. But holding up for now at fresh highs is AMD as it continues to churn higher. AMD, Intel, both sort of leading the way here. It's almost at that $50 level on INTC. We're still chilling out underneath, pretty much at or underneath VWAP here, so 20 holding on BMNR. As ETH is now down to 19.55, so it's still holding the 20,000.
19.5?
No, I am not shorting AMD. That was not part of my plan. Intel at 50 is. AMD isn't at all. No, exactly. Like
ETH, I didn't realize it was even that low.
ETH is at 19.5, and effectively almost the same chart as BMNR. Like it's holding this little consolidation under the volume-weighted average price. Tesla is still allergic to VWAP. It just took another higher low into 434. No breakout trades for me. If you get one more, like if we can just do one more break of the high and then a dip and maybe set a trend line trade up, that's something which can work out on trend. I do like those types of trades if you can start holding on to said trend line. And then back to the worst stock in the market today, Unity just had its best bounce. It went about 20 or 30 cents to the upside and then right back at the lows. As I said, if you're looking to short pops in this name, it's going to require a heck of a lot of patience, apparently. 31% is just insane to me. And then a little bit of a surprise there for myself when I looked at SoFi. That's continuing to head down. Kind of really like that 22 level. But the market, hey, we're under 7,000 here. This is the other thing. Like I don't want to be like punching too many chase longs when we have a topping tail wick at overnight resistance and that big 7,000 here on the ES. Show me you can bounce VWAP, maybe close above, and then the chase looks a little bit better.
I've been sort of pre-warning a little bit about Amazon. It's going to get into a level where I do want to buy it. I mean, they're going to be AWS is going to be huge right now. So just be careful about Amazon. I actually, right here, I put something out. You guys can go have a read on this one, and thank you for everybody that's commenting on this here. Just to talk about the Mag 7 and CapEx and all that kind of stuff. So if you are interested, go have a look and let me know what you think about Amazon or about any of these Mag 7s. I'll put this in the chat, and you guys can go have a quick little look at it. But I just want to say we just got 85s. Like Nvidia's been a beast for sure, but it's just dancing around right now and seems like it may want to break lower. So we're watching out for VWAP again, 192. We'll get a piece out if that does break. What's up, Adara?
Trump has weighed in here on the jobs numbers that we got. Just in, : great jobs numbers, all caps, far greater than expected, all caps, exclamation point. The United States of America should be paying, all caps, much less on its borrowings, in brackets, bonds, exclamation point. We are, again, the strongest country in the world and should therefore be paying the, all caps, lowest interest rate by far. This would be an interest cost savings of at least $1 trillion per year, balanced budget plus, wow, all caps. The golden age of America is upon us, President DJT. So just as we had comments from Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer about this number, U.S. President Trump chiming in as well. Just so you guys know, this has been posted a couple minutes ago now. Back to you.
All right, say less. Yeah, all aboard. I mean, he's going to be, we've already talked about it, the stock market, the president of the markets and whatnot. So CEO of the stock market. But yeah, Anyways, a couple more outs there. I think the market can fly from here anyways. It was a good jobs number. I mean, no matter what you think, what aisle of the bench or seats you're on, because what side of the aisle, because it's jobs are jobs, and whether or not they're cooked or not, you got to respect it. The Nasdaq's been up today. I am a little weary of the break of VWAP, so that is going to be on my mind right now because we've often seen numbers give it right back. But for now it's holding, and I think it's all aboard long. I mean, that's a great talk by the president there, and if you're long stocks, you got to like it. All right, so I'm going to exit out another piece right here because I didn't even have my stop set up. So we'll take a couple outs there on Nvidia to preserve it. So there it is. Now we'll wait to see. We will take another reload down here, but it's the same story, man. If we break below 191, then we're going to get out. So, no point in trying to chase things. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And right now, Nvidia is working, and it doesn't work if we break below, and that would probably mean a break of VWAP here on the Qs as well. So, not necessarily ready to trade that quite yet. JP Morgan up 1%.
Yeah, I mean, that makes sense to me. JP's been really good.
Yeah, I like JP.
Morgan took a little bit of a hit the other day, which we can talk about later on in the session. So BMR just got back into the pre-market fly zone, that 19.6, kind of that chop zone that we're sitting in. So I took one leg out. I'll reload it up at the 20s. So effectively, we're just holding underneath, call it the prior day close. Yesterday's lows. As long as that happens, I can scalp inside the range, look for the push back into the bottom. Like the ES is the Nasdaq's coming into VWAP, the ES is coming into VWAP, you have a lower high being put in, we're back underneath the 7,000 levels, so it's kind of put up or shut up. Overnight highs is where you would expect to buy the dip right in here. What's crazy to me is as we're doing that, Intel is still flying. Ugh, I'm gonna hate myself. I haven't written down Intel as a long in quite some time, and the one day I do, it was already up $1.20 off the 47.
Isn't that crazy? The day you go long, the day you want long, you go short. That happened to me yesterday.
But my note specifically, it said 47 to 48.5. Look short 48.5, and then look short at 50. So it was a reversal of, no question. I had 48.5 as a short level. I just really would have liked the chance at that 47 first. But as the market pulls back, note that you're still pressing higher. That's what's more important. Intel's got a lot of relative strength in it, but it has done this multiple times where it's traveling inside of this range, 47 bottom into the 50 top. So I feel like waiting for that 50 to come in is going to make at least sense to me for sure. So PM&R is still holding. I'd like it to get back to those lows. Just have to be patient with it. The way I see it, you've got IBIT pushing down into the lows. I've got ETHA pushing down into the lows as well. Unless these start breaking out, just seems like a pretty solid hold from here.
All right, we got reloaded. I'm asking Randy for a reload as well. All right, so we just bought some more Nvidia there at 70, got out at 192 a couple times. Debating, let me put another out there at 192. So let's see now if we can get back up to the upside. So it's a good reloaded trade, and we'll fire off the hot dog cannon on this one as we get excited again here. Nicely moving right now is NVDA to the upside. Thank you everybody for joining us one more time here today. We start at 8 a.m. every single day. We want to thank you all for joining us. Here's a quick look at the dollar, see what's going on there with the DXY. Yeah, not bad. I'm actually off on Friday, and then Monday is as we have a tournament in Oshawa. So that should be exciting. Yeah. All right. Just a 7:20 game Friday morning AM. That's right. Okay, so right into there. You know what, the fun part's going to be breakfast, right? Going out for breakfast with the team and all that. Joey knows what that's all about, man. Those early morning rink dates, man, the best kinds. Would trade it for absolutely nothing, like, honestly. But here it is, right, because it only happens once. Here it comes right now, the dollar, pretty muted. I was expecting, obviously this move on that employment number, stronger number, yay USA, yay US dollar, but that's coming back in with the market as well. So be careful watching out for the USD and the way this market is going. And, not everything is just the stocks that we talk about here today. As you can see, this is what we're talking about. This is the S&P 500 heat map. And as you can see today, man, we said that this was all, I chose Nvidia, probably should have chose Caterpillar or something to go long on that great Vertiv story. So GE Vernova up, GEV right there, Lam, like everything that has to do with the whole build out of the data center and the AI continuation play is working today. Yeah, AMAT's probably going as well. And I mean, just here's some of the, those are the picks and shovels, and these are the actual components here. Intel up 5. Look, talk about components. Micron, Schlappy right now, up 7%. I think it was up 8%. Corning up, you know, there's SNDK, just small one, just up 11% today, back to 6 bills.
Oh, here come the shorts.
You know, yeah, Nvidia, everything. So yeah, here come the shorts is right. Market now coming in. There it is. Trump, the market just came in. Trump withdrawing from the USMCA or something. But here we go. TQQs, we can have a quick look, but the market is getting hit right now. Almost gave back that whole jobs report. Who would have thought that? But we do buy a little bit more on that Nvidia dip. So
the president did make a comment about bonds. He basically
about bonds. Okay.
Yeah, he's saying we should be paying much less on our borrowing.
Yeah.
That was a while back.
Yeah,
Tesla just lost VWAP, so we'll take our first shot at it. Was simultaneously it lost VWAP at the exact same moment that the shorts started breaking through. So the Nasdaq, ES, both lost the volume weighted average price. I'll show you the black chart on BMR in a quick little second. But we took our first crack at Tesla. Obviously, it's not the 428 level, so we still have room. But we're still hanging on to BMNR as crypto was already weak and just heading. So I got a bid down at the low. That just happens to be, these are not pre-market lows, 24-hour market, I understand that. My chart starts at 6 o'clock, but it is an overnight support level down here on BMNR at that 19.4. So that's the reason I have one leg out. We'll reload it at VWAP if we can get it. But I believe, Adara, you got some news?
I just wanted to clarify that comment. So basically what happened is we had heard reports earlier that Trump was privately considering withdrawing from the U.S. Mexico-Canada trade agreement. Now, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum saying she does not think he will withdraw. So if anything, this is actually maybe more of a positive headline. But either way, I guess that almost heard the words Trump and USMCA and reacted accordingly. But either way here, the actual story is that Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum does not believe Trump will be withdrawing from that USMCA. Back to you. Oh.
Thanks. Thanks for the clarification. There was that airport in El Paso that got shut down for 10 days, and there was speculation that could be because there could be some land action against the cartels, which would be a little bit. First of all, A, that would be intense. B, maybe that could push defense stocks to catch a little bit of a bid. Maybe the drone stocks off that. It's all speculation, though.
That airport's reopened, I believe.
They said it was for 10 days.
Yeah, I think they pulled
it.
Oh,
they already did? Oh, okay.
But yeah, good look, though. I think that's obviously very, very important. Okay, man, so our stop, we're coming in for Nvidia, man. Our stop is, we're flat, we're flat on the stock. Obviously, if it breaks, then we'll be still flat on it, actually. We're going to wait for a 191 break. So here we go, man. A bunch of outs, right? As we break in lower here, crazy to hold something for that long. So we're just going to wait for a 192 fill again if it can come out, but it is trying to bleed out, and we did see the Nasdaq make this dip down. So yeah, very, very concerning levels here, needless to say, on Nvidia. If it does break, then we got to exit out, but we're going to start to exit out a little bit more now. We're long right here at 30s, so if we can get something out on this bleed, we should probably do that. So a little bit of a battle back there to 40. We'll take it out. There it is. We'll take some more outs here as Nvidia hopefully now can get going. We have a decent sized position, and if it breaks lower, it breaks lower, and we're out of that. So far so good here on the reloads. Could be wrong. I know it's been a little bit of a tough day for some of the trades here, but I'm just going to hold on to this and wait and see if it breaks, man. I mean, if it does, it does, and we can regroup. I mean, the market right now is definitely upside down. We thought that it was going to be a long day after the number came out, and it looks like we're now just starting to rinse out just a little bit. And Nvidia's already been down here and then ripped up $2. So we take profits where profit lies and be careful where it doesn't. And AMD might be the great break right there of 214.50, breaking through the 200, underneath VWAP, underneath everything. AMD short, if this Nvidia trade doesn't work out, could be something. But for now, the Nvidia trade's working out.
I just noticed, and thank you for putting this name in the chat. Hymns blasting, but don't forget to put the $, everybody, in there. Thank you, J-Town Trader. If you see the market pull back and something has a full V shape, that's pretty bullish. I'm not aware of any news story with Hymns today, but we are going to go to Adara. It's 10 o'clock. It's already 10 o'clock. That means we got to figure out what's happening now.
Yeah.
talk here about this market, because right now I was sort of trying, at least in this third 15-minute candle of the day, to make some kind of higher low. Now, obviously, nice push up here in the market to start the session, pre-market rather, as we get much stronger than expected U.S. and non-farm payroll data for January. Keep in mind, this report was actually delayed. It was supposed to come out last Friday, ends up coming out this morning. January non-farm payrolls at 130,000 versus 66,000 expected. Unemployment 4.3% below the forecast and previous print of 4.4. So good look all in all. President Trump chiming in, liking this print, as well as Labor Secretary Lori Chavez DeRemer. Let's talk about earnings. We have so many earnings to go over today, so I'm just going to talk about some of the highlights. Robinhood certainly on watch. Not a highlight, unfortunately, if you are long, but a report worth discussing nonetheless. Sales missed, an EPS beat, but the real story here was that 38% year-over-year decline in crypto revenue for the quarter. They also reported weaker than expected crypto volume for January of 2026. Let's take a look here at LYFT, another earnings name that was disappointing initially to start. They actually expanded their buyback program by $1 billion, but they were unable to escape this miss on sales, which had to do with roughly $168 million of, I guess, tax-related charges. Let's take a look at Unity. Unfortunately, still at intraday lows. The stock down more than 20%, beating on EPS and beating on sales, but guiding Q1 sales below estimates. Other earnings on watch include Humana. We had VRT that was discussed, Shopify, tons more. And tonight after the bell, we actually get Albemarle, AppLovin, and Cisco. In the meantime, though, we're going to send over to Neil and Sean. Make sure to like and subscribe.
Thank you, Dara. This next hour of the show brought to you by PDSB Biotechnology. You find them as PDSB on the Nasdaq, and they're transforming how the immune system targets and fights cancer with an initial focus on HPV-16 positive head and neck cancers. HPV-16 can cause head and neck cancer, and more people are facing these high-risk cancers than ever before. HPV-16 head and neck cancers are projected to become the most common type of head and neck cancer in the U.S. in a few years. You can learn more at their website at www.pdsbiotech.com. And again, thank them for sponsoring this hour of the show. Shout out to them. We did tag the pre-market lows and also overnight support on BMNR. ETH is still looking relatively weak, heading to the 19,000 level. The target is here at the $19 level on BMNR. What I meant about ETH is 1900 level that's heading down to, not to confuse the two, everybody. And Bitcoin is all the way down at 66 half. So I don't know if there's still, you're still trying to not break the low of the day here in Bitcoin if you happen to be tracking that side of the crypto market. Not looking good either. We do have a super chat, and oh no, Binu42, Shop. I didn't realize this had happened to Shop. $20 from its high, good place to buy. You never want to see the full retracement and then some on one of these earnings names. We said it was a little bit mixed. I did not think this was going to happen. We thought the 145 was a big resistance level, so it made sense. You were running so far in earnings. But there's support on the chart, 110 to 115. So you can look at that as maybe a potential base, go back out to August. But yeah, I really hate that type of a setup for any kind of a bullish look. No, not when they sell it off. If it manages to hold the prior day high, that's one thing, because it's just filling in the gap and then catching a bid. That's a pass for me. Much weaker than I was expecting. That's a fail, Shopify. Big time fail.
All right, we're going to go long on the Qs. So we just tried it there at the day's low, but I think better trade is if we can break back above. So let's wait to see if we can break back above 51.50 and then use this low as our official bottom. Because we're able to get out of pretty much all of our Nvidia, I did want to give it to the 200 period now. So we just, instead of just stopping out at 191, I'm going to see if we can get a little bit of a bid, which it looks like we're trying to get now, on this name, and then just offer some out as we start to climb back up to the upside here on Nvidia. We'll see if we can just sort of negotiate this for potentially a little bit of a higher bid as we come back in. Oh, this stupid. There it is, right back into there. So take some outs at 191 using 190.50. So our stop right now is 30 cents. So we got to get a little bit higher upside if we can on this one. It's actually a little lower. It's 190. 39 or something as our stop. So we'll see if that wants to work. And futures, yeah, maybe he bounces back. We tried long 43, we got out 34. So we took 8 cents on this one as a hit because we used what was the day low at that time as our out, and looking to see if we could buy this back on a, in sort of an increased bid here, maybe through 51.50 or 51.60, but take a little bit of profit on Nvidia before it tanks, and here it comes back in, man. The market is losing the bid rate now. So yeah, about that jobs report, man, you're all the way back to where we were pre-jobs report. So there it goes, man. Tesla's been, thank you, Randy. Tesla shot up huge there to the upside. Yeah, man, every day it seems like Tesla's up. But right now, Tesla's coming back to the downside. There it is. This could be the...
SLR is getting more.
This could be the long. Now in Tesla was really acting quite nicely there. Now you're just crashed. Yeah, I mean, $5 on AMD, I called that short. And again, like calling shorts are one thing and actually taking the trade is another. AMD really worked well, but then Nvidia cranked, so did AMD. So watch out now, man. I think you can even go $5 off of this level if this market really gives it up. So I'd rather that not happen, being long Nvidia here, but maybe Tesla. Is the market going to bounce back? I mean, maybe that's why I like to look at the futures, and that's why I kind of like to look at silver, because sometimes you don't have the single stock risk like we do right now. Tesla's really losing it now, so watch out here for Tesla.
It didn't catch a bid at that 428 prior high. That didn't seem to hold up.
The crypto short was
the... what was that 436, yeah. Randy? Tesla was at 436, and 428 is a pretty hefty drop.
Damn it, Bitcoin.
Also... Excuse me.
Damn.
Excuse me. SMR. Yesterday I was saying how we just do not talk about the nuclear names or the quantum names anymore, and they're still flying around. And then, of course, we don't look at SMR, at least I don't look at SMR. The problem is it doesn't get to the wall level, brick wall of 1780. If this falls down into the 14.5 to 15 range where we bottomed out before, that's a good spot for a reversion. So it's on the radar today, that's for sure, as it's falling like an absolute rock. BMNR continues to try to fill this gap into 19 as Bitcoin still falling. You're at 19.1 on ETH, so looking for like the 19,000 level effectively, and potential bounce off that. Like we started at 20,000, sorry, at 2,000, head down to 19 makes some sense. If we start catching a bit sooner, I'm moving my trail. Like I'm obviously not going to get this back into 20, and I'd look for the reload down at the volume weighted average price here on BMNR as crypto and the market continuing to fall. We have a chance to go red here with a super chat from Willis Addison. Am I the only one who bought the SLV pullback? Well, I mean, I don't know. I've never owned. I own some physical silver. I've never actually traded. Well, we trade here, SLV or ZLS, but I don't hold it in my long-term account. And realistically, I probably would have preferred to buy gold off the 50 period as opposed to SLV, but you are getting a nice hold. Ignore some of these super volatile wicks. Look at what happened after. Hold to 50, and then higher lows abundant here. It's maybe not the volatility that it's had previously, because the last couple of days hadn't been insane. Got a couple of inside days, but even this is trending down. So the weakness is extending here. It's bouncing a little bit, but you're still trending down on SLV. It could be a good trend breaker, but I don't know. I feel like that trade, for me, the trend reversal worked 6 days in a row, and then in 2 days it didn't work, and then a flat day. So I kind of feel like that might be a done trade for myself for the short term. Just looking for trend breaks on silver specifically. But I do like that 50 period hold, so good look.
All right, Nvidia winds up falling down a little bit there, and so we'll just stop out of Nvidia. So, unfortunately, now it's probably going to go, but the market is just down. So instead of trying to, that's too bad because we just stopped out on a 40 break, but there it goes back up to the upside there. Very, very interesting. I was actually debating looking at some Tesla here. As I said, I think this was a nice drop down into the 200 period moving average. So we will try the long on TSLA and giving it room, right? I mean, I still want to look at that 424 area, which is essentially what we had written down 422 on here. The miss, it's a missed trade, but it happens in the pre-market. We wrote down between 38.75 to 39 short here on IBIT. So that was a huge one. Now you're down to 66,000, getting lower right now. So yeah, this just, wow, just continues to take it. All right, this is fine. This is why you gotta, it is all about share sizing for me, because the ideas are everywhere. It's just a matter of which ones require the right amount of shares, and do you have them? Does it break against you? Any of these little stories like that. But if Tesla breaks 424, I'm honestly thinking that would be enough for me to say forget about it. Or that's 423.50 maybe, 424. Did not expect, the Nasdaq was up 1%. So, and we said this is that sort of buyer's dilemma, right? Because what winds up happening is you think that these stocks are going to perform well, then the market falls on its face, and then all of a sudden the stocks that were strong are the ones that people are taking profit in and wind up getting hit the most. So what changed in Tesla to drop $12, but this is now accelerating to the downside in many of these places, including Tesla, including Nvidia. Nvidia is down to 190 right now. So that continues to bleed. We were just at 193, right? A stock like Vertiv may be holding out, but the reason why I call this up is let's look for stocks that had good reports that potentially could bounce back on any moves lower. So Fed Schmidt talking right now.
Speaking of those,
I think we have a Dara. Yeah.
Few and far between. No service. Some of these names are nasty. ServiceNow just took the $100 even level. We're talking about some of those software names. But on the positive note, one name that did have strong earnings, it's not a dumpster fire over here in Cloudflare. It's still up 10%. There's a monster seller or a brick wall at $200. I don't want to say a monster seller. I should say a brick wall at VWAP and $200. But as the market is testing lower, this still has a higher low it could work off of. So if we do bounce, you might think this one breaking trend in VWAP could be a bit of a play. Let's go to Adara at the desk.
I want to talk about comments from Fed Schmidt as this market drops. And we know Fed Schmidt's already generally been pretty hawkish. He voted to hold rates steady in both October and December. He said that it's actually appropriate to keep the restrictive monetary policy with inflation close to 3%. He said he's not seeing any evidence that the current level of interest rates is restraining the economy and that further Fed rate cuts could allow higher for longer status. So again, Fed Schmidt basically saying he does not think there's any need to cut rates here and that he likes the inflation policy where it is. Market continuing to drop. Back to you.
Yeah,
thanks, Adara. So I've got the final trail.
We're now red, big time.
The Nasdaq just went to we just went red. We just hit the overnight lows though. So I know the Nasdaq just turned red, but this is kind of 4 a.m. levels. ES, sort of the same thing. It's that rejection of 7,000 on the ES that looks like a problem. But we got to effectively the 19 target that's back here in BMNR. So I now have a bit of a trailing stop into the 20s, which could trigger any second now. So either I get hit right in front of the 19 or we're going to get this out on a trailing stop. Unfortunately here, I wanted to short pressing into this level. Well, obviously 21s would have been much better, but it happened in the pre-market and didn't want to short into an 830 move. It's just not my cup of tea to go against any kind of an 830 move right away at the open. It's one thing to fade it after the open, but once it confirmed, just look for the VWAP trade. That's the second one. It's always kind of like the B trade. But the trailing stop is in. If we get a chance to reload, there's a bottoming tail candle too. Get rid of this so you can see this better. There's a bottoming tail candle off the 19. That's just a punch out. So there's a bottoming tail candle. There's your reversal right in here. If we get back to VWAP, I'll try to reload it. The other thing is on Intel, I thought 50 for the short. We tried our 48.5, got wicked out, tried it again. We're not at 47. That's where I thought the long was today. If we get down there, maybe we take a shot. But I think it got close enough to 50.
Oh, wow, look at that chart.
There's the trend break on Intel. I had my eyeballs on the level. Maybe instead of just looking for the standard, hey, draw the trend line, Neil, and if it breaks the trend line, go short. That said, I probably wouldn't have caught this. The initial candle, when it broke trend, was a 1% candle. So sometimes they are clean, and sometimes they are not when you get kind of a trend break. And I don't chase them either, because your risk is to the prior bar high. So if you get 49.35, you're risking a quarter on Intel. If you chase it all the way down, you're risking over a full percentage point on the trade, which to me, that really never works out. If I do it that time every way, then I'm going to end up net loss. because you're risking too much. And that's what trading is all about. Like, if it's not your setup, you just can't take it. And if you risk too much relative to what you stand to make on your strategy, then you're also not going to make it either.
Yeah, exactly. Share sizing strategy working out is very, very important. It's too bad because, like, with Bitcoin absolutely falling down, that to me was the big time missed opportunity there. We're gonna wait. I mean, Tesla's falling down. I understand, but as we talked about proper share sizing, it's like I'm trying to be patient. I don't know if we're gonna get to 422 or not, but I mean we're pretty close now. Buy a little bit at the 200 period there. That's generally been a sort of a holding spot, as that made sense because it came right back into some of the lows there of the pre-market, and so that was a good buy there. Sorry, of the pre-market. These are really the pre-market lows that we're trying to support now, but that was the first trade, and now we just have to, hopefully it can get back up to 425, take a little bit of a piece out there and just ease some of the pain on this trade, because we do know that Tesla has, I'm still watching Nvidia bouncing off 190, which is where we wrote it down again, but I don't want to be layered into too many of these things right now. But Nvidia could have that bounce back moment in and around 190. It's trying to hold it. We said between 190, 189. So again, like the levels that we're writing down are huge, but we were not expecting like this major pullback in the market. So we took our sort of medicine there on Nvidia, and now we're trying to take it on Tesla a little bit to see if these levels that we thought initially can hold. So there it goes right now. And just what we wrote down, like it's trying to follow the same names on here, but sometimes you don't expect these prices to extend the way they do, which is why you should always have some kind of stop loss. So like there's Nvidia, 189 to 190, right? When this thing's at 193, I don't think we're gonna be getting any 190s. But as the market breaks down, we could get that. And Tesla goes to 436. Now it's back to 423 all of a sudden. So that comes right back into the area. And this is the missed trade right there, the short. Obviously, as this market bleeds down, all the shorts that you wrote down were probably turning out to be okay right now. But yeah, market bleeding, Tesla's coming back into that one. And then just a quick look on Robinhood, because we haven't looked at Robinhood yet really today, other than, you know, its first couple 10 minutes. Yeah, there it goes, man. Lower for Robinhood. So, you know, the pre-market break wasn't that great because it bounced around, but then just in this market dump right here, they sure are selling off some Robinhood today, down 13%. Now. All right, I don't know where we're going, but
we got a super chat from Corey Ewing.
Let's go, Corey.
Hey, the Ewings got to get that oil.
Let's go, JR.
You got to make sure you protect Ewing oil at all costs, because
I think that's what he's doing.
JR runs ramshackle with that. Is the 2-year champion run in story for Palantir over? I bought in at 30 in 2024. My stop loss cashed you at a 160 when it got to 185. Congratulations. That's up. You got a 5xer on that one, and you caught more or less around the top. If we're talking about champion as in, hey, it's going to be one of the 5 best performing stocks like year in, year out percentage gain, I would tend to think that it's not going to do that this year. We're in a different environment this year. This year, Walmart's strong. This year, Caterpillar's strong. This year, Energy's strong. Like, there's a bunch of other places where you're seeing the strength. You look at what's happening today. Like, tech's getting wrecked a little bit, but how much you want to bet Walmart's probably doing some kind of random bull flag right now? Yeah, I feel like every time we're sitting at the lows and I look at some charts, if tech is doing poorly and tech had bounced and Walmart pulled back a couple of days and Walmart's got this little interesting bull flag going on with it right now, how much you want to bet that CVX is doing just fine today? Oh, look at that. That's pulling back with a bit of a bull flag up a point as well. So you just got different leaders, which is fine.
Here comes Tesla.
It's fine. That's part of the market rotation that we're talking about. Golf franchise. Thank you for the super chat. AES Long. Aren't they in the midst of some buyout rumors?
AES?
AES. Like 90% sure there's some kind of, it was like some deal speculation with it. I could be wrong about that. I just remember hearing a rumor. Or reading a rumor. I didn't hear it. I think people say that, oh, I heard this or that, or I'm hearing this. And it's like, nah, you read it somewhere, or you saw a tweet. Which is probably what I saw here. But this is another classic example of a very good trend to the upside. You know, sometimes it's about buying what's strong, breaking out those tops. We just talked about how our energy was looking good. Sorry, I just looked at the Intel chart for a second there, and
nothing is stopping.
Yeah, no, it's not.
I mean, the market was up 1%, now down 0.5% right now. Tesla finally into our 422, so let's go, man. I mean, we're at a spot right now where we're going to have to make some kind of decisions on all of this trade here, because I don't know if we want to start layering into some of these longs. I mean, obviously we've missed the crypto short there, and Nvidia's right back into a level that we had thought could wind up holding 189.50. So, yeah, no real relief here in the market. So we're down to 25,000 now in the Nasdaq. That's been a level.
What about the Nasdaq? The Russell's what's getting smoked.
That we've talked about it. Yeah, I mean the Russell, I guess. I mean even the ES down 0.2. We were all up 1%. What is the Russell down or up?
Down 1 1/3.
Down 1 1/3.
Which makes sense. If we thought that number was supposed to mean less chances of, at one point we were looking at the better than 50-50 for over 2 cuts this year. I can't imagine that's still going to be there. Speaking of the Russell, let's go to Adair. It's time for the small cap recap.
Couple day 2 catalysts, at least for the first couple small caps and watch here. This is Quince Therapeutics. We mentioned this one yesterday. It rallied yesterday after announcing a strategic review. Today, still quite strong as well here for QNCX. Then we have RENX. This one actually featured on our watch list this morning. So RenX Enterprises yesterday announcing that one of its subsidiaries by the name of Zimmer Equipment secured a new services contract with a Florida waste transfer operator. So RENX, this one you can find more info on our Trader TV Live watch list, which you can always subscribe to for free. Let's talk here, last but not least, MNTN. Today, this one is a catalyst. And as you can see, it popped after hours yesterday on its earnings report for Q4 2025. It beat estimates across the board. Its Q1 sales guidance a little bit weaker than expected, but the market not seeming to care too much. Again, that's MNTN, RENX, and QNCX for today's small cap recap. Back to you.
Thank you, Adara. It looks like there's at least a bit of a bounce happening here in some of the crypto names, like BMNR bouncing off that 19 level where we covered. ETHA is making a bit of a comeback. I'm looking over at IBIT as well, and that is breaking trend back into the upside. Intel's at literally at 47 as we speak. But you are getting a bit of a trend break. If you just look this is from the open, not the pre-market high. So from the open, you have a trend break over here on IBIT. So starting to find at least a little bit of strength. I mean, Nvidia, nothing. Intel's now through 47. No, it's absolutely dying here. I mean, I covered my short, and we're not getting any bounces that are indicative to getting anything here. I might even look back, because it's just looking so heavy here. I could even look back. If this ends up being, instead of taking the trend reverse long, if we just sort of fail this trend break, like usually I'd be long right here, 19.2, I'd throw stop underneath the low. So if it fails that move and ends up breaking 19, that could end up just being some kind of a continuation short. So I'm going to be a little bit more patient here because we're absolutely falling like a rock. We're going to get to the super chat in just a quick little second. I just want to show you guys what's going on with the Qs. Still pretty heavy, still making fresh lows. Like there's nothing really showing any signs of abating this move at all. Get that super chat up there, Andre. It's cool. We can go over it. David, $10 super chat. Hey, it's David Tretiak, I'm assuming, right? Dave's dumb lesson day. Do not Captain Ahab or Don Quixote any position. Yeah, had SNDK below 540 strike yesterday, not letting it go. All been there. You know what?
SNDK?
Mistakes. I haven't looked at SanDisk today. I know we looked at Micron, obviously. Where are we at? Wow, SanDisk is strong.
Yeah, it was up 10%, 11%.
But it's actually still...
Oh, now it's... Okay.
But it's still at the open price. So market's breaking lower. This is still down here, or I should say up here at the open price. But I know how you feel. Like sometimes you get away from something that is part of your plan, and it can hurt. That's for sure. Adam James is still abroad. Guess what's coming again? 608 on the Q. We were just showing that on the triple Qs in the chart. Drum roll. That would be a good key to have there, Fabian, if you're listening. We've got the joke drums, but the drum roll would be another one.
Yeah, I think you're probably right on looking lower here on the market. As we had such a good jobs number, 160 or whatever versus 68 or something. So it was like an absolute blowout number to the top side there. But even, shout out to everybody in the chat, man. Like props up to you guys there. You guys had the idea that maybe that number was I mean, we're using words like cooked. I don't know exactly what that means, but just like a little bit overdone there. And whether or not you believe it or not, I mean, a lot of us can, really see the state of the economy or, whatever happens to be going on, in your sort of neck of the woods. It's not all roses everywhere. We noticed that here in Canada as well. So just be careful with believing sometimes in what these numbers mean, right? I mean, we still do have a Fed rate. Oops, wrong page. I was going to try to find the Fed rate watch tool right here. So let me just figure out what this means, because we thought that there was no rate cut at all expected off of that kind of a number. And you could see what happened today. This used to be 18 or 19% chance of a rate cut in March. You're now down to 6%. So just here today, off of that number, not well received at all in the rate cut land, which means current target rate holds fort. Market likes lower interest rates. So today, I mean, checks watch, it's only 10:30, market down for now on that, right? And so if you checked your watch at 9:30, you'd be like, we're up 1%. They love the number. And then an hour later, it's like, what have we done? As we get a nice downside push here in the NQs. So yeah, I think 25,000 is pretty important. You mentioned there, who was it? Jam Loki or something? Whatever, Trader 6 or something, 608 was the number. So that's, coming right in right now. So sort of equivalent with that 25,000 level on the Nasdaq. So yeah, it looks like it's trying to break lower right now. Nvidia can't find a bid, by the way. And we said this yesterday, how range bound that trading was. Like Nvidia, what a surprise. We get right to 193 again. And we stopped out, or not stopped out, we took out some of our longs, which is why we're still able to be fine on Nvidia. Tesla is the problem, obviously. But right into there, and then, range bound. So where's Nvidia maybe going? How about 175? Like, I don't think there's a reason for it to go down there, but that's what, the chart would be telling you, as we're just in sideways patterns, and you don't necessarily need to be in there buying sideways patterns. So, all right, we're just I'm trying to hold out here on Nvidia, or sorry, I keep saying that, I've only traded two names. On Tesla, long right now at 424.70s. So a nice little bump back up. I think it would be not super wise if I don't take something out here at 423. It's bounced off here a couple times, so we will take a little bit of a piece out. I know it's for an L, but we're going to see if we can get this back to the upside now, as it's just bounced around too many times, and we averaged it in. So, let's watch. Our initial take was 422 long, so it's been holding that area, but we don't have the right price. So let's take a little bit out there in case it does continue to drip down. We'll take a little bit of risk off there. We'll take off 15%. 200 period moving average is all the way at 426. That would be awesome to get there. But we are going to take something out at 424 or so. That's where the 25 period is that we've sort of charted. So we'll take something out if it gets up there. But for right now, market in trouble.
It's trying to, we're trying to catch a little bit of a bait here. As the Nasdaq's pulling up just a little bit, Intel got to that 47. Well, all roads eventually led back to the price that was on the node, and didn't expect it to be at 49.50. Didn't expect 49.50 to see zero red candles on the way back in. So into the long, it's obviously a trend break, because if you have 10 red candles in a row and one breaks the prior high and goes green, like that's implicitly going to be a trend break. But if we break the prior bar low, this is an obvious out for sure. By the way, BMNR, it's still holding, ETH is still holding 19, BMNR is still holding the 19 level. It's just chop fest in here. What I'm thinking is, if I'm not going to get VWAP, I'd usually be in this trend break, but I'm thinking just maybe reload this one to the short side. The only question I have is whether I like where IBIT is at better on Bitcoin. And I can't say that I do. Like, if Bitcoin was maybe up here, I would take the shot at IBIT at 37.8. But I feel like the continuation short, liked crypto at the beginning. So if it's going to take another gap down, like, I look at this 15-minute chart, if the plan of action was to kind of short in this range down to the low, well, we have another gap that could get filled in. I do want to respect that. So if I can get the quarters, I'll try to get the quarters on BMNR to the south side. As it is, wow, it's already 10:30.
I know,
Probably just got crude oil inventories.
Yeah, we did.
Most of the oil names were cruising, so watch out if you were riding the trend upside there in anything oil related. Might have just had a bit of a shock, because we just had inventory numbers. I didn't hear them to see if we had a draw or build.
U.S. crude inventory is 8.53 million barrel build. versus a draw expected. So a build in crude versus the draw. So you could see some, first of all, let's go, man. We'll hit the money storm on this one, man. This is the name that we had just bought at 50, 80 or something live on the show. We bought this. And upside for XLE as that continues to really work out, man. Love what the XLE chart is looking like. And it's like, it just, if we had that huge commodity run with gold and silver and everything, obviously we're on one here with XLE as well, as that is really broken out, man. That $49, we didn't get it till 50, but we've been, XLE, I keep saying this over and over again on the show, but XLE is the big position for me, and I really only own XLE as far as oil is concerned. But here's what it looks like on the weekly chart as well. So there's the break, and this is why we have 50 right there. I think we literally have $50.80, something like that, on that break. So here we go, man. Nice break long on XLE. This is a monthly chart. This goes all the reason why I'm showing this. This is 12 years ago, 2014. Back when Bitcoin was $1 or less, right there, $50.65. So watch out now for this play coming in on XLE. I hope you guys are long on that one, as that's really started to break higher right now, up another 2%, and just a good way to diversify, right? And you know, like I said, I own probably in the portfolio, like maybe 5% or so of my portfolio would be in XLE. Like everything else is just layered with tech names. It's crazy to watch the portfolio swings when that's the case. But still well diversified, but definitely the Metas, the Nvidias, heavy spot in the account.
Apple's turned into a hedge now.
I have, yeah, and Apple's probably my largest holding.
1.6% to the upside.
Yeah.
And at a new high of day.
Let's go Apple.
That is the aforementioned Apple, which we just mentioned. So shout out to the chat mentioning this. When tech gets weak, or at least the AI part of tech and the frothy part gets weak, Apple seems to get stronger. They sold off when there was a little bit of strength, or it didn't do anything when there was a little bit of strength, and now we're breaking right back to the upside. I do believe I heard, did I hear a call that we need to go to Adara? No? Okay, never mind. Smart Film Masters says Netflix is looking bad. Well,
really?
In their defense, a lot of things are looking bad this morning. It's hard to come up with a reason as to why it would be up when everything else is down at this point. But it is this 80 is a big test for Netflix. This has been the spot the last week where at least there's been something to hang your hat on. And you're not hanging your hat on anything if we're down there. Ooh, you know what? I just thought of this. Hang on a second.
Tesla's still bleeding and the market's trying to go back up.
I just know that sometimes when we have extreme, it's not doing anything. Sometimes when you have extreme moves, I was wondering if something stupid was happening in Warner Brothers that could be taken advantage of, but there isn't. But Netflix in that 80 level is probably the one spot where you've been able to buy. That said, there's no bottoming tail candles, there's no capitulation bottom yet, there's no trend break. None of that stuff has happened. So like Intel went in, made the bottom, did a bottoming tail, and is now trying to hold back above 47. So if we get VWAP, that'd be great. But now that I'm zooming out, part of me is saying the target should be more in here at 47.6 and not as big of a bounce play. Yeah. Looking at this, it's like, no, because I'd usually be thinking continuation short on the pop. So this should be more back into this level and terminated at 47.80 or so, and not think that it would be that big of a bounce. Market's still looking to try to hold some of these lows, so hopefully we can get this bounce here, but just changing the target. I don't think VWAP's all that reasonable.
No, I think right now, I think any sort of move higher you might want to take for granted a little bit. Oh, so still on XLE. I have to wait. I'm going to wait for Tesla. I want to watch it at that 420 level. It's bleeding down and the market's going upside, so it's a little puzzling to me there. I don't want to stop. I was just saying to myself, I don't want to stop out here because, we could go on that little bit of a rip. So I did flip over, buy a little bit of Nvidia, take something out there at O's, as now it's starting to go upside, and maybe the market will eventually catch a bid. But right now, it's like, death by a million cuts here on Tesla. It's just the market has reversed now, bounced basically off that 25,000. Congratulations on the 608 call there on the Qs. I don't know who that was, but that was a great call there on the chat. So
wasn't it Adam?
Maybe was it Adam? Yeah. So I just heard you say 608, and I was like, yep. Makes sense. That's what we're looking for here in the TQs as well. But nice bounce back there on the overall market. So congratulations, as we'll say, Awesome call on that 608. Can we get it going on Tesla would be nice. We are getting it going here. Take another piece out at 94s. You might as well do that now. So we'll take a little bit more out on Nvidia. Hopefully we can get an upside play and we'll let this go. Looking for 190.50 right now on NVDA. So if that can come in, then yeah, we'll celebrate that and take another piece out. If it can get up that high, as we said, you know, scalping, nothing wrong with doing a little bit of that in this market, because, you know, the play all the way back up would be great. But what's the reason for it, right? So the market's already hit down. They've already sort of took out that level there on the jobs report, and now we try to hold some of these bids, and not uber successful in doing that. Oh, we just said Uber there. Let me go over to Lyft.
Yeah, about that.
Okay, yeah, not too bad, man. I mean, Lyft had a great move higher, but now you're also trying to take down the lows here on Lyft. So Lyft earnings, I like the $1 billion buyback, but, you know, right now, I don't know when they're going to start instituting that. Hopefully they didn't try right there. But yeah, looking like it wants to break lower here. This market seems like it wants to turn around now. We did not get going at all with Tesla. It got to 421.50 or so there. Yeah, 422 almost. And now it's taking out 420. So see you later as we go to the downside here on TSLA. And then Nvidia turned around as well. So the day's getting a little nastier here to the red side. So the short, probably the right call here, obviously.
Yeah, I got to my first take profit on Intel. The second we filled at 30s, it's right back into the 47 even. So if we lose, it's usually the low of the day, but just a small technicality, I just moved it to a little bit underneath this higher low here, because you're holding on for dear life. If we can't at least extend through the pre-market lows, this just continues to look overall pretty nasty. In other places, and again, I know we're looking at, obviously, a lot of tech names, just pointing out that even Apple, that just pulled back off of its high. So the relative strength in Apple, if Apple loses the bid when it's been doing some heavy lifting here, that's obviously not going to be a good look for the overall market. And then we had mentioned an earnings name which was strong. Believe it or not, Cloudflare is actually at VWAP. It's in a downtrend. It's still in a downtrend, I should say, and a distinct one since the pre-market highs. But you know what? The market made fresh lows. It barely did. It's holding on to the gap. It's up 11%. This has a chance to break the trend and head back into the upside. But you know, there are some kernels of strength out there. We talked about earnings names. Robinhood, unfortunately, not doing too well, but it's holding the low. It hasn't made a fresh low in about 20 minutes or so.
Okay.
It's trying to bounce. That brings me, at least personally, to SoFi in the $20 level. If you zoom back out, here's $20. I kind of thought we'd be trading off the 22 today. Even if it was a fade at 22, I mean, break or fade, either way, just not going to happen. But the $20 level has been some support. Maybe 1980 is some, I guess, or support underneath that level at 20. But it is trending down to there, where I would look for a trend break. But right now, we're in Intel for basically that same trade. And if we can't bounce here, like Intel, it went straight up with one red candle, which I tried to short on the way up, and then all red before. We haven't had a red candle since we got in at 47. So if we can continue that trend, just looking for the 47.8, I would usually think VWAP, but not the way that this day has turned out. I'm just reminding myself what this stock has done when it fails the $50 level. It's either going all the way or staying a dumpster fire.
All the way or the highway, I think.
Yeah, I'm sort of thinking staying the dumpster fire. Like, I feel like there's still going to be a short at some point.
We talked about that yesterday with Nvidia, with Intel. It was like, it had that move right back to $51 on earnings, and then it was like, okay. All right. These should have big signs that say stupid diamond hands on them right now, because I don't, you know, like Tesla's, sure, it's battling back. We're almost back to flat on this. We've been taking L's because our average price was 420, 430s. So until it gets back above there, you know, the whole trade is not, or was it 420, 430s? I don't know. But whatever the average price is, we're taking hits as it goes higher. So, you know, to celebrate this move is great, because it is finally a bounce back spot. And shout out to Dave in the chat there, because you mentioned to me, at least, and you said, here, I have it. You said 420 was the bounce zone right there, Dave. And I just asked you how to tell, though, that was it. So I don't know if you've answered that question, but thank you so much for that look there as weed names, I guess. 420,
Well,
yeah,
it's
420.
420.
Yeah. Maybe. Is that why you said that, Dave? I hope not. But there it goes right now. Finally, we're back into the monies on Tesla. And by the way, $1 now. We're in the money again on Nvidia. So yeah, man, the trading is not going to stop regardless of what this market is doing. Sometimes we overtrade, and we probably did that a little bit with Nvidia, but we're patient enough to find it. We'll turn green on Nvidia after taking these pieces out right now. So good day there for NVDA. Obviously, it's a good day when you're green on something, but we are not green on Tesla. But I'm gonna take another piece out right here and then wait for 424, and then maybe we get upside. So finally, a little bit of a bounce moment there on Tesla. We've made back a hell of a lot of money, but we lost too much holding on to it unrealized in the first place. So definitely not the great risk to reward situation on Tesla, but our spot was just not like respected by myself. I mean, we wrote down 422. Obviously, if we wait to take 423, 422, we probably get a 421, and our average price would be 422, which is where it is right now. So we should be much better on Tesla than we are, but not so much right here. All right, Adara, it's 1020. It's 1042. Oh boy. That day did get going real quick. What a market, man. Upside down right there. We'll see if we can get a V-shaped recovery, almost like we're thinking about an Intel right there, as that was a very sharp V-shaped downside.
IPO today.
What's the opposite? So V, I said that, it's like more of a sharp N, right? Like a tent shaped market there today. All right, Adara, over to you at the desk.
It's already 10:30. As Sean said, time flies, and so do certain sectors within this market, mostly producer manufacturing, consumer non-durables, energy, minerals. Communications is pretty strong here. You've got industrial services, electronic technology, but there's some weakness here too. Tech services to the downside as a group. Then you've got finance. Those are basically the two weakest sectors here, but let's start with tech services because a lot of names here are getting beaten up. Oracle down 3%, Netflix down almost 3%, Palantir down more than 4% and continuing to sell off here. And CRM, which had a decent day yesterday, giving up that pretty much that whole move and down 5%. So tons of weakness again across the board, specifically in tech and finance and certain aspects of electronic tech as well. I mean, the Meg 7s here are strong, but then you've got Arista Networks just 2 days ahead of its earnings report, and Amphenol, both of these down roughly 3% each. Now, not a lot of sectors are kind of mixed or in between. Health technology, a little bit mixed here. Gilead up 4.5% on earnings day one. But then you've got Thermo Fisher down about 2% today. Transportation also mixed with some of these ride sharing and food delivery type plays like DoorDash and Uber to the downside, likely in sympathy with Lyft after earnings. So long story short, kind of a segmented look here with these sector watch. A lot of these sectors strong, but some others quite notably weak. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Adara. Just very quickly, there's two IPOs today. One is AGI Inc. on the NYSE. It's a 900 million offer. I guess the offer amount's just under $1 billion here. And then Solve Energy, which is MWH. That's kind of weird. On the Nasdaq, and that's 600,000. I just realized I didn't put them up. I usually have like an independent imbalance locator that I can throw up, but I can probably just do this, sort it by time. And maybe you'll find. So the MWH is a buy and balance and is indicating 26.50. And then AGBK would be the other one. It's indicating $12. Kind of cheap. Who the heck IPO is that? $12. Okay, well I thought
a SaaS name.
No, I'm literally looking at the list on Nasdaq. It was supposed to be 15 to 18. Who the heck actually ends up that much lower than what you were expecting? So that might not be a good one. I've never seen that far underneath what they were saying the issue was going to be. But anyways, there are a couple of IPOs today. So the target stays the same on Intel in front of this 47.8, just where we were at the open, support to resistance. And if we break the trend, I'm out. So we waited for it to finally print a green candle. If you have 20 red candles in a row, I'm not drawing a trend line. The first green one is a trend break. It's that simple. So I did punch long on the first break higher, but then waited for it to at least retest. It formed the trend line. I think we're just going to get target and not have to worry about it. But I'm still thinking VWAP for a potential short, or at least somewhere in this 48 range for INTC. So kind of mucked it on the upside and missed my trend break for the short, but was able to get the long. I thought the short was better because it was in front of that 50. That kind of is what it is. if you want to resist my offer, we'll let it press into this 47.8, and then we'll be in and out. Be one of those days, like 3 stocks traded, 1 down, 1 up. I'll be up on Intel, but overall be flat because it was 1 for 3 on Intel. So it's a small up on Intel because we did lose twice before winning.
I don't really have any button to hit, but I just want to say a big shout out to my lovely wife. She's watching and cheering on. She just said, "Go Tesla, go!" So I want to thank her for watching, and it's always great to have, obviously, the support of your loved ones. So thank you, Marisa, for watching the show and and cheering it on. So yeah, she's waiting apparently for the recycling truck to move away from our front yard so that she can get the heck out of there. All right, so let's go, man. Nice move up there for Tesla. It looks like it is stopping, so we did take out, like we had said, man, 423.50. There's a bunch of outs right into here. So in trying to lessen the bleed a little bit on Tesla, we wind up getting some out. $1.40 in the money right now on Nvidia. That's right near VWAP, so we're trying to cash out. I do have an offer at VWAP. Well, it's at 191.20s, so I'm going to put that right now at 191.05, just realizing that that's maybe a little bit too high there. So we'll see if we can get something around those wicks. That would be a pretty good opportunity there. But yeah, thank you there for all of that. Yeah, bring home the money is basically what she's saying. It's tough enough. Imagine living in Toronto, one of the most expensive cities, have 3 kids and just the 1 income. So yeah, we're trying to put up some numbers here. That is for sure. Doing our best, man. Just a dad right now trying to go. So there we go. Yeah, thank you so much. Always, 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 shout her out. And there we go. Thank you so much to this chat right here. Oh, great husband. Yes, she is an amazing wife. I'm not sure about how blessed, but yeah, it's great to have her there. And she just takes care of everything else. I'll handle the financial side. She will literally do everything else. So there we go. What's up, Jose? No, you cannot get adopted. I told you I already have 3 kids. Okay, so that's that one. And one's in university, and he's the one that's costing me the most. All right, so there we go. That's going to be one. Mara, SLV. Let's have a quick look at silver and see what that's doing here today. We're in good mood, obviously. 2.5% for SLV. Potentially got that bottom in and around $75. So we'll have to wait to see where that comes into play for silver. If there is a continued downside play in the market, I could see silver giving it up as well. I mean, this is sort of a rinse on all commodities or all things unrelated to the market as well, like Bitcoin. And we talked about that IBIT short at 39. We missed it. Obviously, now it's $1 and change in the money off of that pre-market level. So, just learning more and more every single day. Thank you so much for all of the support there. Hey, KT, man, that's not, this is not the point of that. If anything, you guys are probably making me look bad. But thank you for all of the support there as well. And, now that I talk so nicely about her, she's probably not even watching. So here we go, man. Datadog, Amazon. There's so many trades to make today. But most importantly, thanks for watching. Only 10 minutes left until the midday show, where unfortunately no husbands roam on the midday show.
But we are going to have, I believe we're going to have Luis coming back. He was, last time I think he came at 1 o'clock.
Yep.
Joe? Luis at 1 o'clock? Yeah, so Luis will be coming back at 1 o'clock. That means you get double barrel small cap action with Sharif and, of course, Luis. And you'll still get Joe. I'm sure he's looking at silver today and a little bit of the crypto market. Nice downtrend over there on SLV, by the way. That's holding out rather nicely. Ooh, no, Bitcoin. No. You do not get to VWAP. You do not get to break back out. You go right back into lows. If this is going to lead the market, I think it was the right place. And sometimes that's happened. Like, if you saw what was going on, like crypto turned before. Like, we were sitting in BM&R, and that was putting in the lower high when the market was still pressing. And then just eventually everything caught up. But if that's the case, I feel like we got the right spot to get out on Intel. And again, just for your... always try to explain the reasoning behind, like, why'd you like this level? Why'd you like that level? So this is where Intel broke down. So there's your wipeout bottom, a couple of days in a row, support around this 47.8, then resistance right in there. It held in the pre-market that level. So in my mind, market weak, play the pullback to the bigger resistance spot, not the line on, like VWAP's the line on a chart. 47.8 was an actual level. VWAP's a line in the chart. So play that reversion back into the actual resistance level instead of VWAP. If there's nothing in the way until the volume weighted average price, then I play it till VWAP. But if there is something standing in the way, then that's where you get out of that reversion. So I don't know, nothing really setting up for me yet unless I get a good spot at IBIT. I'm not really seeing, could have been in this at VWAP, but we're in that Intel trade. So it'll be one of those days, be flat on the session here, mostly because I missed Intel on the short. It's that simple. Like it just comes down to missing that one shot. Like I like these trend reversions. I was waiting for 50, waiting for a price level instead of a trade setup. And that's about as clean as it's going to get. We'll go to Adara. It should be, I believe, only 10 minutes to go. So maybe for the last time, we'll go to Adara and then come back.
Yeah, unless there's any crazy news that this will probably be the last time you see me during this morning show. But let's take a look at this US dollar. So you can see some higher lows here off of this low that we made back on Tuesday, January 27th. So kind of trying to continue this bounce here off of these lows. Now, that being said, the 98,000 level is still an area of resistance, but today we are above yesterday's high. Now, let's talk about one of the things moving this market and also the US dollar, and that is going to be what we got this morning with non-farm payrolls. Non-farm payrolls coming out around 130,000 for the month of January, much stronger than the estimate of roughly 60,000. We also had that unemployment rate coming out 4.3%, a little bit lower than 4.4% expected. However, this means that the cuts of a rate, or the chances of a rate cut, in March have just diminished further. Only 94% of participants expecting that March cut, just under 6% only 94% of participants expecting a hold, and then roughly 6% expecting that cut. If you go forward to April, the chances of a hold have increased exponentially as well. Yesterday, we had roughly 58% chance of a hold. Now that's up to almost 77%. If you go to June, we are still, this is still where you kind of start to see the first chance of perhaps a cut, roughly 41 or 48.1% chance of a cut. But either way here, it looks like the chances of this April and March cut, even in a distant future, are just getting smaller and smaller. Back to you.
Oh, boy, I cannot believe it, man. We are basically, same as Neil, man. We are flat on this session. I never could have thought that we could have been flat on this session, man. What a move higher right now. Like, there goes Tesla. We just dip bought this at 422, and now it's at 424, man. We are extremely excited today because this was nasty at one point. Like, can't believe to celebrate flat right now, but that's what we're doing. We're $4 in the money in total right now. $2 on Nvidia. $3 on Tesla. And oh boy, man, are we kind of lucky, right? Oh, there we get another fill. Lucky to be flat on a day like today, man. Wow. Unbelievable considering where we went to. I appreciate everybody. If you're able to hold out on that, then wow, that was just disaster strikes in some of these names and just able to get back to it, man. Obviously, Neil and I, very, very lucky, I think, on a day like today. But here it goes. Today, there's a problem. All right, it is lunchtime to talk about that. We are now we got 99 problems. Lunch is one, not trading right now, and that's kind of a good thing. We'll use our monies today to buy something else because today the flag is Japanese and the fish. The fish is teriyaki tilapia. Yeah, I almost can't even get it out.
For a second, when you said Japanese, I was like, oh, it's not tilapia.
However, you love tilapia the last 2 times. Then I remembered,
no. So in fairness, the last time we had the teriyaki tilapia, it was actually really good.
Yeah, so that's good. So this is potentially a win for you. I'm on the salmon.
Maybe.
Today, teriyaki tilapia, grilled seasoned veg, stir-fried noodles, chef choice salad, and Tesla, and Nvidia. Let's go, man. It's a hot dog kind of day. We're going to go swimming. We're going to come back, and we're going to see where this goes, man. Wow. Cannot believe the comeback on the day. All we had to do was follow our rules, and we would have been months made today, but we do not. So we're going to get a little bit more focused on the levels that we write down. But hey, when we had this move up, there's no way I thought this was coming back to 422. So the fact that we had wrote that down, believed in our levels, bang that one out. When Nvidia was at 193, no way I believed this was coming back to 189 to 190, but it does. We hit that trade, we trust it, and there it goes, man. This was a very, very Very red day at one point there, but you know, we held out on our levels, and that's what trading's about. So there it goes, man. Now we're $3 in the money on Tesla, trying to break through 425. We'll offer a little bit more out here, and hopefully when we get back, this thing has mooned back to 430. But so far, so good there on Tesla. What a day.
Yeah, before I don't want to get out of here before we actually get these super chats in here, and thank you for sending them. Smart Film Masters. Activist, I saw this note this morning. Activist investor Ancora Capital has revealed a major stake in Warner Brothers and is pressuring the studio to abandon its deal to merge with Netflix. The only thing I will add to that is Ancora has been buying shares and they own 1%. I believe they just got up to 1% of a stake. So yes, they're an activist, and yes, they are pressuring to engage more with the higher Skydance deal, but they only own 1%. That's obviously not a gigantic a percentage, but maybe they'll buy enough that they can make a difference. David, thank you for your super chat as well. Sometimes when your plan breaks down, ask others what they are up to. Learn, no shame.
Yes,
sitting back.
exactly.
That's sort of the thing. I feel like, look, the example I'll use to that is I missed Intel at 49.5, and it's like you're sitting there. It's like, oh my goodness, do I chase? Do I chase? No. My trade is the trend breaker 50. My trade is the trend breaker 50. Well, the other level I had was 47, so it's wait. If I think it's going to bounce off 47, wait till it does what? It broke 47 twice on the 3-minute chart. Just wait. And then take your one shot. And if this goes further, so what? Waited for the price level, or wait for another opportunity. Maybe even find a stock. Like I was looking at HIMS because people were bringing that one up, and I thought that could be a potential trade breakout. Obviously didn't do so, but it was at least relatively strong. And you look for other ideas or opportunities. And we just got another super chat here, so let's get that. We were 2, now we got 3. This will be Data Robertson. Nice. Hey, 2 great people on the show. Love the family mentions and the sharing. Thanks for adding oodles to the daily vocab. Oddles? Oddles? Oh, sorry, not oodles. That's oddles. What is oddles?
He says he brings his own bottles to the club.
To each their own.
There's something in Egypt called Whipsaw, man, but you got to pay more to bring your own bottle in the club.
Ah, okay.
Pay more to bring you. Sharif just said he probably doesn't have a mic on. He just said there's something where you called Bouchon, where you bring your own bottles to the club and pay more to do so.
Yeah, that's how I roll.
That's that is definitely not how I roll. I promise you that.
It's kind of how I roll.
That ain't-
All right, so yeah, man, they're not like us as we continue to support Kendrick Lamar, and we say, oh, Canada, here as well. And thank you so much for watching, man. 1.5 minutes left. We throw it back over to the boys. This has been such a super exciting day, guys. I hope that like you said, I hope you've enjoyed a lot on here. Like we keep mentioning, like, you know, it'll be basically a flattish day, but wow, what an emotional day today for me anyways, man. Nice rebound in the market. The market was down about 0.5%. We had rebounded nicely off of 25,000. Shout out to James abroad there that mentioned that little low. So did Dave there on Tesla. So yeah, man, it's just Yahoo. Big time day alerts for the rebound and for the shorts, man. There was enough for everybody to eat today, right? So the barbecue's open. There's some jerk chicken we're cooking there, and it's going to be a good one. So yeah, Nvidia, boom, like had to wait a minute. Look at all these fills, like absolutely nuts. The day is not over there, Dave. You are 1,000% right. We may be over until 2 p.m., but you're going to go here with these guys on the midday show. It's going to be a banger as it usually is. So get ready for that. Luis Barbado coming at 1 p.m. Should be a real exciting day, man. We're here, man. We're here every single day, and I want to thank everybody for coming through now as well. 10 seconds left.
One last one. We got Hypercube. The super chats are just coming in. Want to make sure we get to all of them. Thank you, Hypercube. Some watch TV.
Even Neil's getting hyped. This is the kind of day we're on.
I just saw the word tilapia at the end, so
yep.
It is what it is. For the epic diamond-handed trades, some people are here for the community. I am here for the tilapia. Epic day.
Yeah,
we're all here for the. Well, if you're sitting,
I am not here for the tilapia.
Well, it is what it is. I'll be eating it. I'll let you guys know how it is at noon.
Sorry about that.
We've had some pretty good luck with it. That's what it's all about.
All right, go swimming, come back. We're doing that.
It is 11 o'clock. Remember, we have Luis coming at 1 o'clock, so enjoy that. We've got the options. We've got our good friend Sharif. We'll be back at 2 for more action. Send it off to the midday.
A lot of expensive small cap gappers today. I'm displeased. Boom! Greetings and salutations.
You may as well just go straight to Adara right now.
Something's going on back there. Welcome to the Midday Show. That's your boy Joey Opsh. I'm Sharif, and let's say hello to everybody in the chat.